All right, guys, start the stream in just a second. Got tornadoes. It's gonna be a crazy day. We've got active tornado warnings. Thunderstorm warnings. We've got tornado watches. Outbreak. Let's get this show on the road. Let's do this. Welcome to Outbreak, a new live stream format brought to you by the Stormfront Freaks podcast, hosted by me, meteorologist Brady Harris, also known as Stormcat 5. We'll go live on days of extreme weather with the goal of keeping you safe, informed, and entertained. The only question that remains is, are you ready for the outbreak? The outbreak starts now. All right, guys, I know we had a stream last night, so thanks for joining us last night. We're back. Sorry it took so long for us to go live. I had some stuff I got to take care of during the day. Now I'm off work and I'm ready to stream, and I'm dedicated to showing you guys what is going on right now. Currently, you can see at the bottom of the screen, we have active tornado warnings already. We had active tornado warnings earlier in the day. We had tornado watches issued. We've had even a couple of confirmed tornadoes on the ground that I've seen videos of. So we've got a really busy day. I think that this could be a pretty, at least we're looking at a couple of storm cells right now that have a wildly impressive velocity signatures. We have 2 tornado warnings out there currently. I believe in Iowa. Actually, sorry, we have a total of 3 tornado warnings, all in Iowa right now. So we're going to get to that in just a second. Let me go ahead and bring in Dan Wallace. He is our weather analyst that is pretty key to this operation. He is pointing out things left and right. He's kind of directing me, pulling up some cameras from time to time. Dan, how are you doing today? Any thoughts on this outbreak so far?
I'm good. Thanks for asking. Well, actually, we have 2 tornado warnings in Illinois and 1 in Iowa. Okay. It looks like it could be ramping up.
Yeah, I would agree with that, Dan. And you're right. These tornado warnings these storms have just crossed the Illinois border. So they are moving into portions of Illinois. And then we've got a third tornado warning up in northern Illinois. And we're going to get to those in just a second. I just want to show just quickly, let's just level set and see what we're dealing with here, and what kind of threats are we going to deal with tonight. And for that, let's do our outbreak setup.
Time now for our outbreak setup.
All right, so I'm going to do an abbreviated version here. And we're going to start with what do we got first of all with the outlook that we currently have. We have an enhanced risk for today, and that's for tornadoes and wind and hail. Mostly tornadoes and hail, which is what we talked about yesterday as being the main threats for today. And once again, really, those areas we're seeing those storms start to move into the 5% risk, but still we've got active tornado warnings, active supercells right now that are spinning up along that line of storms. I also want to quickly touch on the tornado watches, and then we're going to get right into the radar and start now casting this very quickly, because we do have some pretty strong storms, and we have had some pretty crazy tornadoes already today. So currently right now we have 3 tornado watches and 1 severe thunderstorm watch. Are I think the most recent issued tornado watch or the longest lasting tornado watch is this one here. And this is for these storms that are currently right now moving into parts of Illinois, Burlington, Moline. You guys are in this. Quincy, Illinois, you guys are all in this tornado watch. Even south of Columbia, Missouri, you're even in the very edge of this tornado watch. I don't think there's necessarily an immediate threat for you guys. I think the biggest threat is these cells right now that we have currently moving right across the Illinois border. But you can see, just looking on this radar, this is a broad area of, we've got some rain showers in front of it. We've got a line of storms in front of that. And then behind it, we have our really dangerous tornado producing storms, which there's a couple of supercells right now that are producing some pretty strong rotation that's about to cross the Illinois-Indiana border. The other watch, the Illinois Iowa border. The other watch we have is for Spencer, Illinois, and other areas to the north. Sioux City, you're in this watch. Also, I think Fort Dodge, Iowa. It looks like even parts of eastern Kansas, northeastern Kansas. And so that's our second watch. We have our third watch, which was a severe thunderstorm watch. And actually, let me get to the most recent watch was issued. This one's issued for central and southern Missouri and Iowa here. So I think the immediate danger is past for you guys, but we'll have to, just in case there's any redevelopment, we'll have to keep an eye on that. All right, so let's go ahead and get to the radar and show everyone what is going on today. And I see Jess is joining us. Hello, Jess. Great to see you again from yesterday. Garrett, big one just went through Salem, Iowa a little bit ago. And that's actually where we're going to jump to right now. So we have, once again, a total of 3 active tornado warnings, 4 active severe thunderstorm warnings. And our 2 of these tornado warnings are for, let's go the first one here. So this one expires in 27 minutes. This is a radar indicated tornado warning. And this is for western Mercer and southeastern Louisa counties, I believe. And this is, once again, a severe thunderstorm that's capable of producing a tornado. So the National Weather Service isn't necessarily saying that there's a tornado on the ground with this one, but they are saying that there is radar indicated rotation. So there's enough on radar to be able to tell the National Weather Service there could be a tornado possibly on the ground. And anytime they refer to the storm as a tornadic thunderstorm, that usually means it had produced a tornado in the past. So this one we're going to have to watch. And let's look at the velocities here on this cell. And let's just see. Okay, so pretty, not really that strong of rotation, at least from what I'm seeing. Let me look at maybe I can get a different view from a different radar, because I don't think this view is very good. Nope. Yes, Siri, something did go wrong. Sorry about that. So yeah, you can. This is a different radar. So this is a little bit further away. You can see the greens and the reds next to each other. So there's your rotation. It's pretty weak right now. So, I think we've got some outflow here surging ahead of this. We've got some inflow here pushing into the storm. And so we're going to have to keep an eye on that. But for now, that is a definitely a tornado warning you're going to want to take seriously. Let's look at the one further to the south, because this has a little bit more storm chasers on it. I think this one is also a radar indicated tornado warning. And this is once again, this means that there isn't necessarily a tornado on the ground. This is the National Weather Service thinking there could be a tornado on the ground. Okay, this is interesting. Weather spotters reported a funnel cloud near Augusta, Iowa. So there was a funnel cloud on basically that a storm chaser saw. So that means that the funnel cloud isn't necessarily indicative of a tornado on the ground, but it is an indication that there could be a tornado that's trying to form. Oftentimes, a funnel cloud will either form into a tornado or it'll dissipate. So that'll be interesting to see there. I think just looking at the rotation with this one, once again, green is going towards the radar, so the radar is north, so green's going this way. There's a pretty strong inflow out in front of this thing, and then you have a little bit of not really red but weaker kind of blacks here. That means the wind's kind of slinking a little bit this way, and so there's your generally your broad area of rotation with really strong inflow getting sucked into this thing. So this one expires in 8 minutes, and this tornado warning is for over Iowa Army ammunition plant. So let's hope it doesn't hit the ammunition plant there. but this is going to be near Burlington. It's moving northeast at about 35 miles an hour. So not moving as fast as the storms were yesterday. Yeah, Justin, you're right. A tornado doesn't have to be fully condensed. So just because you see a funnel but don't see it touching the ground, those tornadoes sometimes they can be on the ground, right? So just because it's not necessarily touching the ground from what you see on your end, it still could be on the ground doing damage. But so that's sometimes funnel clouds are a little tricky. But yep. Sean O'Reilly said, "Holy crap! Yep, we've got some pretty active. We've got some really. I mean, this storm. Look at the lightning on this thing, because it's just like. I mean, the lightning is just insane with this storm, and that to me is a big indicator of this is a big storm, and it's isolated enough. It's on the south side of this line." So it's got free pass to the inflow here. So we've got winds and we've got a low level jet that's feeding into these storms. And so because it's on the south side, it gets kind of primo access to that low level jet. So I think that's what they call the South Charlie. I don't know. I forget what that term is. I would love to hear in the chat if you guys have heard of a name for that. And then our third tornado warning is up here in northern Iowa. And this tornado warning is a radar indicated tornado warning and expires in about 6 minutes. So it's about to expire. And let's see if we can find a radar that looks like this is in a little bit of a radar hole here. So that's a big bummer. My guess, because this storm, it looks like has moved out of the tornado warning, my guess is they're probably going to let this thing expire. So if I would open this tornado, I bet they're going to say, okay, they're still saying a severe thunderstorm warning is capable of producing a tornado. But I mean, if you look, the warning is clearly outside of where unless this radar is completely off. This warning is just outside of the criteria there. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and look back at our storms. I want to look back at the history of these things because you guys didn't get a chance to see yeah, and this is actually Phil. Phil says we'll have a bomb NATO, and then I think that's why Sean said holy crap, and then Phil also said next movie for tornado trailer trash. So yeah, that's Sean has not heard of that, unfortunately, Phil. But I want to look at and they just extended the severe thunderstorm warning on this cell that is currently tornado warned and expires in 4 minutes. So that'll be interesting to see if they extend the tornado warning. I would want to see maybe the latest velocity scan, but I think this severe thunderstorm warning is actually on for this. Because there's kind of two cells here. There's one there and there's one there. I think this severe thunderstorm warning is kind of probably really for both. And that's the National Weather Service just kind of saying, hey, this is a nasty storm, and we want to give you plenty of warning ahead of this thing. But man, look at the lightning on this thing. Dan, I wonder Dan, if you see anything on GR Earth that you want to show, let me know. But I wonder if there's any cameras around this area. This isn't a fairly big town, Burlington, Illinois, and I wonder if there's any cameras that we can get for that. But I want to look back and show you guys what was the history of this thing, because oftentimes when you look to see what's going to happen in the future, the past is a pretty good indicator of what could happen in the future there. So let's go ahead and check this out. We'll go back just a little bit to kind of show you guys just over the past couple of hours what has happened. So this right here was at 6 p.m. and that's weird. It should be loading more frames than that. Hold on, let me go back even further than that. Okay, here we go. So the cool thing is you can see what happened. This is at 4 p.m. today. So about 4 p.m. and those warnings are the warnings now, so that these storms weren't necessarily warned there. At 4 p.m. today, we had a pretty strong. Well, we had a first initial wave of storms move in, and this was modeled pretty accurately. And this wave of storms kind of was pushing and kind of lifting off to the north and west. And I think the focal point of that might be a warm front, possibly. Um, and then because we have a strengthening low off to the west, and so this was lifting north, and then right behind it you had pretty rapid recovery of the air mass. And so you would think the storms would go through and kind of destroy the environment and make it really hard for storms to form. But in this case, we had a pretty rapid recovery of the environment here, and then we saw a secondary line of storms form. And that secondary line started as kind of a line and really and moved into an area of some pretty strong conditions. And now, I mean, look at some of these storms. This one right here was a right mover. Look at it just kind of march its way and fight its way right. And that one I think is the one that produced a tornado. And the one to the south too also was a pretty nasty storm. The last couple of frames here are pretty interesting because these storms started as a line. Usually it's the opposite way. These storms started as a line and have now kind of broken up just in the past hour or two. This is at 5:30. You can see they really have started to kind of isolate from one another, which is why these are so strong, because they form supercells, right? They're able to isolate and become supercells, and that's why we're pretty concerned about these storms. Is they're in an environment of really high helicity, shear, all the good environment. And we'll take a look at that in a second, but that's what this storm did. And now I want to look at the velocity, because this is why. I mean, this is kind of why I went live. Let me go ahead and pull the history. So this was, let's see. Come on, load. Okay, so this was at about 420. Can't really see it. Here's our line off to the west. And once these start to move in, look at this. So this is where we had, I believe this is where we had our tornado, right in there. That is where we had our tornado earlier. And that storm, I think this was 545, 537. I believe it produced a tornado. I'd have to double check, but it, especially right there. I mean, that's a clear. You've got your red, you've got your blue and green. That's a pretty clear indication of a tornado that probably was on the ground just north of New London. It looks like it probably just missed the city of New London, and then has since, and look at that frame. That is clear inflow pushing in here, clear outflow and the rear flank downdraft from the storm pushing out. That is your rotation right there. And then let's just see how this thing progressed. And look, just in the past couple scans here, see how the rotation is kind of separated. There isn't that bright blue or bright green and red touching each other. That means that the rotation is still there, but it's broadened up somewhat, right? It's weakened a little bit, and even I mean, just in the last couple frames, we've kind of lost it, right? There isn't really, and that could be because it's getting close to the radar, but we've kind of lost it. And same thing with this storm down here, and that's why this storm is now severe thunderstorm warned and not tornado warned. Because if we back it up, let's back it up to kind of show what this storm did. I think let's just see if there's. This one didn't have as impressive of a signature, to be quite honest, but still, I think there was some broad rotation in there. But okay, all right, Dan. Dan's got a camera. Let's pull this up on the big screen here. Dan, where is this camera at?
It is southwest of Davenport.
Got it. Okay, so this is southwest of Davenport, Iowa. And is this looking west or east?
I'm thinking it's looking west, kind of west southwest.
Yeah, got it. Okay.
Yeah, it does say west right there on the title.
Got it. Gosh, where is Wow, why am I having such a problem finding Davenport, Iowa?
I think it's actually. Is it in Illinois?
Yeah, it's definitely in Illinois. Yeah, I believe. Oh yeah. It is. Okay, so this has got to be okay. So this is in Okay, we're in Davenport. This is in Iowa, and and the tornado warning cell is right to the south actually. So if this actually looks like it might be looking directly west, and then just to the south of that is where our tornado warning storm is. So if I pull back up this view, I think we're looking at the camera right in here. Let me click out of this enhanced risk here. But I think we're looking at a camera right in here looking this way. And our storm is our only tornado warning storm right now in Illinois is just to the south of that. Sean O'Reilly says, looks like Christmas and loving the stream. Storm Chaser Logan says, hey, y'all, hope you're doing well. Yep, thank you, Logan. I hope you are doing well as well. If you're chasing, hopefully you're being safe. All right, so we are now down to one tornado warning, which is a good thing. We have a only one active tornado warning right now for our area. We do have some storms that have formed behind this initial storm that have kind of exploded out of nowhere, and that's we're gonna have to keep an eye on those too. And look at this, Dan. Just in the last couple of frames, looks like a little bit of a notch there on this storm. So I think we've got several storm chasers on this one, so that'll be interesting. We'll have to watch that if that's trying to recycle and possibly spin up a tornado here. That could be what's happening. It's still a severe thunderstorm warning, still a dangerous storm, but has kind of lost the rotation here for now. But
yeah, it looks like the majority of the chasers are on the southern cell. I'm counting maybe about 8 or 9 icons on the northern cell.
Yeah. And then how many icons are on the southern cell?
Oh, numerous. They're overlapping.
Everyone and their grandmother. Yeah. Okay, so this is still and to be honest, we saw on the camera there's still some light out there. So if there was especially the amount of storm chasers on these things, I think the majority of our storm chasers are in these two storms. So if there was something on the ground, we would probably see it right now. So that's a good thing. Okay. And I'm actually going to take off just because it's getting in the way. Take off our thing unless I can make it not clickable, which I cannot. Okay. So we have kind of a couple areas that we need to watch, right? Just looking at the radar, we've got this big area up to the north, just to the east of Cedar Rapids, Iowa, in northern kind of Illinois, and then in eastern Iowa, there's this giant mass of, and I think this is actually in Wisconsin. Yeah, this is in Wisconsin. So just to the east of Madison, west of Madison, Wisconsin, we've got a big complex of storm, a lot of lightning, and a lot of some pretty strong winds with this storm. So if you live anywhere near, let's just kind of see the motion on this thing, and let's not do 75 frames. Let's do 21. Yeah, so these storms are moving pretty much due north. So these aren't packing as much of a punch, I think, as they had a little while ago. But still, if you live anywhere in just to the west of Madison, let me warn myself. Yeah, Madison, Wisconsin. Reedsburg, Richland Center, you guys are going to get hit with you might get hit with a couple rounds of storms here. So flooding could be an issue up here in just in southern kind of southwestern Wisconsin. But these are still in our risk today for some severe weather. And I believe they're in a, let's just see, I think they're in the marginal. No, they're still in the slight. So you still get some pretty good storms here. The further these push north, probably generally the weaker they'll get. But when you have a low pressure system like this spinning up, I think it could get some. Any of these storms could be strong. You've also got another area of storms down here. Oh gosh, I'm not even going to pronounce that. Just to the north of Davenport, you got another line pushing through. This is pushing through eastern Iowa, just to the north of Davenport, about to cross into Indiana. And these storms, unlike the storms to the north, are pushing more to the, actually, it's the storm motion's more, I guess, to the north and east, right? So if I put this in motion, just to kind of show you where these are going, these are kind of lifting to the north. So this line of storms we'll definitely be able to pack a punch. No warnings from these yet, but a lot of heavy rain, some lightning, and they could spin up in an environment like this. So we're gonna have to watch those. But I think the main area of concern right now is these three cells down. One's about to move just in the southern suburbs of Davenport, Iowa. And then we've got two other cells here. Both are severe thunderstorm warned. And our first cell is just to the north of Burlington. And then the second cell, which just went severe thunderstorm warned, is moving through Mount Pleasant and West Point, which I believe are just in the southeast corner of Iowa. So as these continue to move into Illinois, they are going to continue to grow in strength. Anytime I see lightning well outside, hopefully those chasers are being safe. But anytime I see lightning well outside of the storm, that's a pretty good indication that's we've got a pretty strong storm right now. Logan says, I'm not today, unfortunately. Work played a factor, but on to the next chase. Yes, my friend. Never stop chasing, as our good friend Reed Timmer would say. All right. Give me 1 second here. Yeah, so let's see. So we're gonna have to keep an eye on both these storms. This one's looking a little more ragged right now. This one's got a lot of chasers on it. It almost, there's kind of an inflow notch here. Both are pretty weak. Not really strong rotation just yet. This will be interesting to see if this tornado warning expires. Let's just look at the velocity here. Yeah, I would bet that they would allow this to expire. I don't know, Dan, if you disagree here, but
no,
I would.
Yeah, so it's leaving the higher, what looks like the better environment, but that cell to the west of that southern cell that we've been looking at, the one that's severe
West Point. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of near Mount Pleasant.
Yep.
As it moves east, if you want to bring up the GR Earth, I've got
I got it.
Significant tornado parameters up there. So you'll see the tornado warned storms that were warned are leaving that higher environment, but the western cell may be moving into that environment.
Yeah. So what Dan's showing on the screen right now, this is actually pretty cool that we can do this. This is the significant tornado parameter, and what this, right? That's the SIGTOR. Is that right, Dan? What you have up? Okay. So basically, what that is, it's a combination of a couple factors that basically tells us, okay, are the conditions right for a tornado and a strong tornado to form? So the darker the color, you've got blue, yellow, orange, and red. The darker the color, the higher the chances are, the higher the parameters, the higher the more energy, the more likely it is that these storms could tap into those good conditions. So, and when we say good conditions, those mean good conditions to form tornadoes. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. And
yeah.
What looks like
and then I'm going to switch over to most unstable Cape. here. So you'll see.
Yep. Okay. So this is what Dan is showing right now, and hey, to Clint watching on YouTube, appreciate you joining. But yeah, this is Cape. So this is most unstable Cape. So this is once again how much juice and energy is in the air. So this storm to our south is the very southwestern severe warning storm is moving into that area of highest Cape, and the storms to the north and east are moving out. That doesn't mean they won't stay strong, and they probably will. But that's why we're thinking that's that storm just to the south, the West Point storm, the one that's all the way west that we're looking at in the frame right now. That's why I think we're looking at that one probably closer than the other two. So something I want to do too, because we actually had that tornado warning just expire. So we had thought we were looking at that Davenport storm. It didn't look that organized, and now that tornado warning has expired. So we just are down to 0 tornado warnings. So we were at 3. We started the show at 3. We're now at 0. That's a good sign. But still, we're not out of the woods just yet. These storms are oftentimes can recycle, and they go through cycles of spinning something up, dropping a tornado, and at least the National Weather Service has said there could be 1 or 2 long track supercells, which means these things could spin up too again as they continue, because they're still in a pretty good environment here, even though they're starting to move out of the good air. But and actually, let's look at the current conditions here on the meso analysis just to see what we're looking at. And before we do that, let's just look at the storm reports for today.
Tornado warning for Scott County in east central Iowa.
Okay, this is going to be for the city of Davenport.
All right. Well, let's get back to that. We'll come right back to our storm reports in just a second. But just as soon as I spoke, they just issued another tornado warning, which is not showing up yet on our radar here. My guess is got to update. Dan, you're faster than all the other radar apps, man. That's sweet.
Well, I'll tell you, GR Earth picks it up first.
Yeah, they do. They do. So I believe I believe that tornado warning that you just saw came from this cell, right? This Davenport cell, which looking at it, it's got let's just look where this pretty strong area of winds right here, just to note the bluegrass. And let's just see if that corresponds to the storm. Okay, so that's on the north side of the storm. So that means the winds, we got a pretty strong outflow flowing this way on this storm. Now, what I'm looking for is generally on the south side of the storm, somewhere in here is where we would have some sort of rotation. So let's just look and see what.
So I've got the warning product here. It's radar indicated. It is going to be located over Bluegrass, or 8 miles west of Davenport, moving northeast of 40.
Okay, 8 miles west of Davenport. That's definitely this storm then. That's interesting. The warning still hasn't showed up. I want to see if this is showing up on my other radar. It is. Hold on. Let me try and close this out and refresh it, because maybe it's just a radar.
But that's the overlay right there.
Okay.
That magenta.
Okay. When was that issued?
It was issued at 5:59. It looks like 17:59 Central.
What? That's so interesting that it's not showing up here. Okay, but it's definitely showing up on my. It's also showing up on radar scopes. That's interesting, and that's for Scott County in central Iowa, and I think it was just issued at about 6 Central. for Scott County in east central Iowa. All right, so we've got a new it looks like JRB Storm says pretty good view of the storm on the I-280 and Illinois 92 traffic cam. Dan, I wonder if you could see if you could find that for us. But so this storm is a dangerous storm. It's moving into Davenport now. It's got a pretty good area of strong winds. These are most likely pushing just to the pretty far or pretty strong to the north. So it's severe thunderstorm warned. So we are expecting some really strong winds with this. And then just looking on the south side, I don't see any pockets. I mean, there's maybe something, maybe a little bit here. I don't see much here, Dan, though. I don't know if you see something different, but I'd be interested to maybe see if there's a different radar I could look at that could show this a little bit better. Here, let me put the Allison house. Yeah, let's put that on there. Dan, I wonder if you could look at the velocity in the view you have here to see what that looks like, to see if it's a different view.
So this is going to be the rotation, the azimuthal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rotation.
Okay. Cool. Okay, so anywhere where we're seeing yellow and is that red too?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anywhere we're seeing, so that is the area of strongest winds on that I'm seeing as well on radar Omega here, and I guess it's just north of Bluegrass. And is that warning? Where's that warning at? Is that warning? Yeah. Okay. There's that warning.
So, and this is co-located with where they said in the product it was over Bluegrass.
Got it. Okay, so this is actually really interesting. Then this is a really interesting storm, because looking at where this storm is, where the tornado warning is right here, right? That's kind of our tornado. If I would draw this polygon. It would be probably for this area. So just to the north, about to pass into Davenport, Iowa. And if we look on velocity here, the kind of couplet has just moved to the north of Bluegrass. But here is your pocket of stronger winds. And this is really interesting, right? Because normally we look on the south side of the storm. In this case, though, they think there could be possibly something spinning up right in kind of here. So if you live just to the west of Davenport, Little Grove's Bluegrass, the storm went right over top of you. There could be a tornado warning. This is a radar indicated tornado warning once again for Scott County and east central Iowa. It looks like it's moving. The storm's going to hit Davenport. Looks like the area of strong or the area of rotation, which doesn't look incredibly strong, but I think there's enough here to say right in here could be a possible tornado. But this looks like this rotation is going to move just to the north of Davenport, Iowa. Jess says didn't catch it. A new tornado watch about 15 minutes ago. So we'll come back to this. This alert, and this is wrong right now. And if you're looking on my screen, there is a tornado watch, there is a tornado warning for this storm. I'll put Dan's other radar back up on the screen, and maybe Dan, we can pull back up the base reflectivity here for yours, but and maybe zoom out a little bit because I want to show people the polygon of the tornado warning. So that tornado warning, just based upon that polygon, is let's see. Okay, and I just got the tornado warning in my program. So let me go ahead and update our banner. But that tornado warning is for Scott County and east central Iowa. So Scott County and east central Iowa, just to the north of just to the north of, looks like it's passing just to the north of Davenport. So Davenport, Iowa, still a dangerous storm is coming right at you guys, about to be on your front doorstep. Regardless of if you get hit by the tornadic circulation or not, you're going to get hit by a really, really, really nasty storm with a lot of lightning, and this, this piece to the south is going to have a lot of lightning and some strong, possibly some large hail with it. Yeah, and look at this too to the south. This was our originally tornadic storm that no longer has a tornado warning on it, but now has a pretty significant hail core right in here, kind of right along this, right where you see these purple colors. They still are, with this severe thunderstorm warning, they still are indicated that there could be a possible tornado with this. But I think the biggest threat right now with this storm is going to be large hail and some strong winds, especially on the back side of this. You got some strong winds here, and we've got another pocket here, so gonna have to keep an eye on that. All right, so if you're just joining us, we do have a this radar is wrong. We do have one active tornado warning right now. It is just for it's I think, Dan, correct me if I'm wrong, does it include the city of Davenport?
Yeah, it's going to be the northern side of the city of Davenport.
Okay, so it's the northern suburbs of Davenport, Iowa. We have, maybe zoom in a little bit further on there to see what other towns we got. But I think, if you're in the northern area of Davenport, the airport looks like where the radar is in the direct path of this thing. And then Eldridge, Walcott, I think Walcott's right outside of right just barely in the warning. But you guys are all in this tornado warning. It's a radar indicated tornado warning, which is the lowest tornado warning. It just means National Weather Service looks like there could be a tornado on the ground possibly, but we're not sure, and we don't have confirmation just yet to be able to upgrade that. But still, a tornado warning it means we have enough information to say this is a very dangerous storm. There could be a tornado on the ground. So if you're in just north of Davenport, Iowa, right where near the airport, you're going to want to take this warning seriously and get to your tornado shelters. And we're gonna come right back to the radar in just a second. I'm gonna close out of my radar app and reload. All right, so we are looking at right now. Let's look at the what do we have, or what has happened so far today? What are the storm reports that we've had? So we've had about 16 tornado reports already today. So busy day. And this was probably early in the morning. These reports out in Nebraska. And if I think it'll tell us the actual time. Yeah. So actually no. Okay. So this was a little bit later in the day. So we had a couple of tornadoes that touched down in Nebraska, and we have some that are from social media. Looks like there's spotter video. We have one that was emergency manager reported, and then we had another one that was emergency manager reported in Platte. It's probably from the same person. So another interesting thing to learn is just because we had 16 tornado reports doesn't mean we had 16 tornadoes. That just means there were 16 different instances of people that either sent in a video or kind of reported a tornado that they saw on the ground. So far we have mostly in northeastern Nebraska, northwestern Iowa, central Iowa. Looks like we had a tornado report for you guys. A lot of wind reports too, about 57 wind reports, 27 hail reports, 100 reports so far. So busy day we've had, and could continue to be busy for the next couple of hours here. All right. I'm curious to see now. Let's look at our. Let's go back. Back one more. Let's go to our meso analysis to see what do we got. You know, Dan, I don't know if you struggle with this or if anyone else in the chat struggles with this, but how am I supposed to pick where I want to go here? I feel like if I click here, yeah, see, that didn't even take me to Iowa. That took me to Kansas. This is it's like you got to pick the right square. It's so hard to do this. Like, how do I guess let me try the red square. See, look at that. That took me to Ohio. What am I supposed to do? Yikes. All right. I guess this will have to work. Nah, let's try it one more time. Okay. All right. This is better. So if anyone in the chat has struggled with that, let me know. I want to hear from you guys. Have you struggled to click on the meso analysis, which box to pick? Jess says that's why I click on the area phrases on top. Yeah, I should have done that. Wait, can you do that? Oh my, are you kidding me? I'm such an idiot. All right, anyway. All right, so let's look at the current conditions and then we're going to get back to yeah, JRB Storm says the same thing. See, I'm a shapes guy. I like looking at shapes. So interesting. But anyway, so let's look at the current conditions out. So we got a pretty strong low pressure right now. And actually, let me see if I can find a better view. And let me use the Central Plains. No, let me try a different one, Midwest. That's better. Okay. All right, so we've got a low pressure at the surface off to the west. That's your catalyst for a lot of these. That's why a lot of these storms are happening, right? Low pressure at the surface, probably a ridge in the upper levels. And we've got Cape, actually not as high as we had yesterday, which is pretty interesting. For those that joined us yesterday on our stream, we went for a couple hours here, and we saw a couple of storms, but had to drop off at about midnight. And I think most of the storms there was a dry line, right? It was just really kind of just did not really get going. But looking at this, here's kind of our line of storms in the center of the screen. Oh, actually, hold on. I'm gonna pause. Let's put this camera. So Dan, what is this? Is this the storm that's moving into Davenport? I think Dan might be having some mic problems. Dan, we can't.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're good.
Looking west, I-74 at the Mississippi River.
Okay. This is looking west, and let me see if I can pull up. Let me pull up the radar and let's try and go side by side here. All right, so Dan is looking. Okay, where is this camera? Let's see. Still no tornado warning on radar Omega. That's wild. All right, so this is in the storm of Davenport. That looks like looks like a little bit of a notch here on the southern side of this thing that we're gonna have to watch as well. Dan, let me know when you get that camera back up, and we'll go back to you here. But little bit of see that little notch right here? That's not even in the tornado warning, I don't think. But anytime I see that starting to develop, that could be forming something here. And the latest scan is not as pronounced, but the actual tornado warning is just to the north, basically, for this storm here. So it's moving just to the north of Davenport. I'm curious to see what the velocity looks like. Okay, so this is right on top of the radar. So the storm, if there is a tornado, it's somewhere in here.
So the image is back up.
Okay, all right, let's put it
I just updated the view. It looks like it's a shelf cloud.
Okay. All right, so I wonder, can you zoom in a little bit on there, Dan? I wonder. If not, no worries.
Maybe.
Yes, we got a pretty. It looks. I think there's a bug in the center of the screen too. Maybe we could ping them and tell them to shake it and get that bug off. Yeah, so this is looking at the storm going into Davenport. Yeah, there we go. So let's looking at the storm going into Davenport. About to move right into Davenport. Pretty strong shelf cloud with this thing. Which does everyone know the anyone in the chat want to call out what the difference between a wall cloud and a shelf cloud is? I'd love to know if you guys. Okay, so this storm, so what we're looking at right now on the screen is, I believe, is right down here in Davenport, which this is actually fascinating because that's right where that little notch is. Right. So the city of Davenport is about to get hit pretty hard. Excuse me, is about to get hit pretty hard from a storm that has a tornado warning to the north. There's kind of a secondary storm to the north. The city of Davenport is getting hit by this storm down here, and that's moving right through you guys with some pretty heavy rain, some lightning, some wind, and some large hail here. So, yeah, this is actually pretty fascinating to see. Because I think the very right edge of that is that little hook on radar. So that'll be interesting to see. We'll have to keep an eye on that to see if it drops anything. But
I'll look for another shot.
Okay, that's a pretty good shot though, Dan. I love that we can see that shelf cloud right there. But it's moving through Davenport right now. I mean, look, the waters look pretty choppy. I think that's a still image, and the waters look pretty choppy just from that image. So I think the winds are whipping up pretty good. Jess says a wall cloud is a lowering meso right, and a shelf cloud would be associated with the forward flank. Yep. Yeah, Jess. Essentially, you're right on there. So it's wall cloud. Think tornadoes. Usually or can produce a tornado. Shelf cloud is what we're looking at right now. It's like the front of the storm as it's pushing in to an area. So if we look at the Davenport storm again, right, what we're seeing on the camera is right the leading edge of this storm, and right behind it is some rain. But that almost looks like a shelf, right? So that's why they call it a shelf cloud, because it looks like a shelf you could hang, clothes on. And that usually the stronger storms, especially if they've got really strong winds kind of pushing behind it, like this storm does, it can form a shelf cloud right out front of it, and it's pretty cool to see. And that's what we're looking at there. So City Davenport is going to get hit with this thing pretty hard. And I believe the tornado warning is still active, right?
It is on my screen.
All right. I don't know what is going on with the data lately with all the different services has been pretty spotty. I think there's National Weather Service has been having some data problems. So
valid till 6:45 local, so about another 23 minutes.
All right. So still, there's still a tornado warning right now for the city just north of the city of Davenport, I believe. It includes the north side. I think it might include downtown. The actual tornado warning does include the city of Davenport. So a dangerous storm here. It's hard for us to tell exactly where it would be just looking on the radar. This is pretty difficult to tell you where the tornado could be. So if you're in this warning, take this warning seriously, and do prepare for a possible tornado to be there. So this was probably about when this web camera updates. This was 3 minutes ago. It looks like when this updates, I would expect to see us in the in the rain there. Yeah, okay. This is the latest. Wait, like this was a couple 1822.
That's about a minute ago.
Yeah. Okay. They just did extend the okay, yeah, 1822 is 622 622. So it looks like they did just extend the severe thunderstorm warning for that cell. They extended it all the way into Clinton and Comanche, and that's right along the Illinois Iowa border. And they let's look at the language here. So severe thunderstorm was located just north of Parkview, and 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts and nickel-size hail. So not quite penny, but nickel. So still some. I don't think hail is a huge issue right now at this, but this is the storm that is tornado warned. So I think we'll have to keep an eye on this one as it moves to the north, because it still is a dangerous storm. Doesn't look as impressive on radar right now, but Dan, that kind of correlates with what you were saying about it's moving out of the kind of highest parameters. Although it could be moving in. I mean, is that just to the north?
Yeah, so you'll see up there towards the top right of the image. Looks like the parameters are increased over there.
Interesting. Okay, so this could be moving out of it. This storm, which is kind of falling apart right now, could be moving into an area of some stronger conditions that could allow it to re-strengthen. So we're gonna have to keep an eye on this storm as it moves to the north. Right now, we still have an active tornado warning. That's our only active tornado warning. Is this storm? It includes the city of Davenport. The storm's right on top of you right now if you live in Davenport. We also have a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings to the south of that, which is what Dan's showing on the screen right now. We've got a couple of storms pushing actually into an area of stronger parameters. So if you're in Illinois and in Dixon, Rockford, other towns in Illinois, Sterling, you've got a pretty strong line of storms ahead of you. Pretty decently long night ahead of you away. Raymond asked, is there any confirmed tornadoes today? Yes, Raymond, we actually just we showed that for just a quick second. We have a total of let me just pull it back up. So far today, we have a total of 16 tornado reports. Some of those were reported by emergency managers. Some were reported by and actually, I realized I'm not showing my screen. Let's look at this. Some were reported by emergency managers. Some were reported by storm chasers. So yeah, we're gonna have to. So I think when the dust settles, I do believe I think I saw a couple of videos while I was away today, and I did look like a couple of tornadoes that appeared on radar, or a couple of tornadoes that did in fact touch down. At least one. And if not more. So, but we won't know fully how many tornadoes have touched down until the end of the day, or I guess till the end of the next couple of days when the National Weather Service does their damage survey. But generally, when I see a emergency manager reporting a tornado, pretty good indicator that there was a tornado at some point. All right, to Dan's point, let's just quickly look back at the parameters. And then Jess was talking about a new watch. We'll look at that as well. All right, so the Cape out in front of this thing, still plenty of Cape. There's some sin out in front, a little bit of a cap, but I don't think that's going to matter because we've already got storms ongoing. So they're going to tap into this Cape that we got out, a little bit of a pocket of 1500 up here in northern Illinois. So that's probably why that parameter Dan was showing is a little bit higher. Let's look at our helicity here. Yeah, yikes! Look at that. The highest helicity of currently is the storms are moving into the area of high helicity. So that could be a problem. And that could mean that these storms are going to possibly, I mean, they're going to keep going, but they could keep rotating as they move these supercells that we have as they move into this area of high helicity. Like Dan had said, so this is that same parameter he was showing. This is the significant tornado parameter. We've got a bullseye over northern Illinois, and that's right where these storms are tracking. So these storms are tracking into a pretty dynamic and strong environment. So this is going to be interesting as we watch them move off to the north and east. Can they hold together, and will they continue to kind of possibly produce? Could they be in a recycling phase where they're kind of just waiting until they hit that area of better parameters and then start to explode again? I also want to see what the. Ooh, actually, this will be fun. Let's go look at the College of DuPage here. I always love looking at this satellite. I think they have a really beautiful satellite presentation here. Gosh, look at that. Let me do sub-regional. Look at that. That is just textbook right there. I always love to look at this because you can always tell. Well, you've got your low here. Kind of look at this spin in the clouds. You've got a deepening surface low that you've got your center right here, and then you've got you've got a lifting warm front to the north over here, and that's one focal point of storms. And look at how tall these things are. This is so cool to look at. If you look closely at the satellite, you can see just how a lot of these clouds look flat, but then basically in a line from here to here, you can see these overshooting anvils. And it's probably pretty beautiful to see from the surface. You probably can see these giant cauliflower thunderheads, which is always cool. And then behind it, here's your focal point for these really strong storms. Right in here and just in eastern Iowa, moving into Illinois. That's where you got this line of really strong storms. That's tapping it, and that's why we had our recovery right here, because we had a clearing. That clearing is allowing us to get a quick kind of shot of juice for the storms in front. Oh yeah, Jess says you can see the shadows from this time of day. Yeah, if you look at, to Jess's point, let's look at a localized sector. This will actually be really cool to get real close to these things. Let me just put this in motion. Yeah, you see the shadows from these? This is super cool. You can. I'm such a weather nerd. I just geek out with this kind of stuff. You can see the shadows right at the very, let me just pause it at the end. See these shadows right here? This is, if you're in these areas, it's going to be dark because these high level clouds are producing a shadow right over top of your head. And you can see, look on the south side of this. This is like a little thunderhead that's trying to form just on the south side. So oftentimes you can tell, okay, this is actually going to be another thunderstorm that's forming right in front of our eyes that you can sometimes see on satellite first, and then you can actually look. It'll show up on the radar maybe a couple minutes later. So that's pretty cool. But beautiful nonetheless. All right. Well, let's go ahead and check back. Actually, no. Let's get to our tornado. Let's get to our mesoscale discussions next. And let's see what we got. Dan, I think that tornado warning was allowed to expire, right?
Yeah, it has expired.
All right. All right. So we don't have any active tornado warnings at the moment. That's a good sign. But still, like we showed you guys, the storms are starting to move into an area of some stronger conditions. So we'll have to keep an eye on those as they go as they continue to push off to the east. Man, part of me is hoping, Dan, these don't continue on way late again because I haven't eaten dinner again. And I don't think the people want to see me eat another Caesar salad in front of them.
Yeah, I was going to take bets and see if they were going to decide what you're eating tonight.
Well, yeah, I'm probably going to keep it boring. I don't know. You guys can let me know in the chat if you want me to see me eat again. Probably not. All right. Okay, let's pull this up. Okay, so we did have a tornado watch. This is a pretty narrow tornado watch, it looks like. This is just an extension of our existing tornado watch, and this just moves it a little bit further to the west, or sorry, further to the east into Illinois. So, so a pretty good chance for some 40% chance of a moderate, or sorry, a tornado. Low chance of a EF2 plus tornado. So that's pretty good that we don't see that. The counties are, we got Boone, DeKalb, LaSalle, Lee, Ogle, and Winnebago. And that's all in Illinois and then southern Wisconsin. So Wisconsin, you're getting in on the action tonight. Raymond says, I want to see Brady eat a whole 24 cut pizza or Taco Bell. Raven, you're a sick man. You don't want to see me eat that crap. You really don't. Also, Dan, fun fact, I have never had Taco Bell in my life.
Really, never?
Never.
Okay, well, that's good.
I don't know. I just never had a reason, you know? I just feel like, because everyone's heard of the analogy, like, you know, you compare Taco Bell to Subway and say, well, Taco Bell's got better meat quality than Subway. And I'm like, if that's the standard, like, what are we talking about here? Because I know Subway is basically like, you know what? I won't trash Subway too much, just in case they ever want to be a sponsor.
I've eaten them both, and I'm still kicking. So,
well, that's a good sign. That's a really good sign. Well, I don't know if I feel like playing Russian roulette here.
I don't know how many times I've been in a Taco Bell drive-thru after midnight.
Yeah, seriously. We had Elizabeth says, I've never had Taco Bell in my life either. That's great. Raven says he wants me to eat a big chicken sandwich. Maybe that's what this stream will morph into. Just me taking requests and eating a bunch of really bad for me food.
Yeah, we'll go live with Brady chomping.
Yeah. All right. And also, I will mention it too. I see we have a good amount of people watching us on Twitter. We have some people watching us on YouTube. Thank you so much, guys, for watching the stream. I appreciate it so much. You have no idea how much it means to me. This has always kind of been a dream of mine to get in and talk about the weather with people. So I really appreciate you guys watching this. If you are on Twitter and you want to comment, go ahead and head over to YouTube. I'll post that link on YouTube so you guys can look at it. But if you want to comment and get in on the action, I'll post the link to our YouTube, but you'll be able to go and actually watch us watch the show, and hopefully it's not going to start playing when I click on it. It probably is. I'll go ahead and post the link to YouTube here, so you guys can head over to there. And I guess you probably won't see the chat, but if you go to YouTube if you go to YouTube and just search for the Stormfront Freaks, you'll go ahead and find us there. And if you are watching us on YouTube and you like the stream, go ahead and subscribe to it, and that way you'll be able to see whenever we do go live. And then also, if you do like what you're seeing, just go ahead and hit the thumbs up button, like I just did there. Makes a little cool emote, nice little satisfying emote. But go ahead and head over to YouTube, and that way you guys can get involved in the chat and see what we got going there. I think we also have a chat on Facebook. I don't think Twitter does the chat function, so that's the only bummer there. So once again, really appreciate you guys listening. Emily B says Papa John's. Emily wants some Papa John, or wants me to eat some Papa John's. You know, I can't say that I remember to I can't say the last time I've had Papa John's. I think it was probably in high school when I had Papa John's, but I just haven't had it since. There's Cindy Ann is here, lurking and listening. Glad to see you survive the storm, Cindy Ann, last night. Cindy Ann was watching us last night and had was just to the west or just east of Rapid City and had some gnarly storms moving through. So hopefully you're able to kind of keep power there. All right. So Jess brought our attention to this the newest mesoscale discussion, and it is concerning our. I think this is in central Iowa. So this is actually well away from our area where we have our strongest storms, and they say severe risk over the tornado watch will possibly continue for about 1-2 hours. So they're thinking, well, there is a dry line right now, and they're thinking maybe there could be some redevelopment along that line that could possibly produce an isolated tornado and some hail. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. I don't think there's a lot right now, but there is a dry line, and it is, I mean, the dew points behind this are, what is that? Yeah, 45 to 58. So a fairly weak dry line, but still could be enough to kind of get storms going here along that dry line, just off to the west of that line of storms moving through. All right. And I think, yeah, so here's the area of here's kind of the area they were talking about where we could get some possible storm development. If I would play this in motion here. Yeah, it's interesting. Just on the last scan, you can kind of see some stuff starting to try and pop. And if you look right back here, look, you can see two different distinct boundaries here. You've got one here. Then I think this is your dry line starting to push. As those two kind of get closer to one another, that's where we could have stuff start to pop up. So that's, I think, why the National Weather Service put that out, because they, just looking on radar, you can see a little bit of a boundary here that could be a focal point of some storms for the next hour or two. All right, well, let's check back on our storms here. What do we got right now? So no active tornado warnings. We have, I believe, let's see, I think we've got a total of 3 active severe thunderstorm warnings. Just that storm is just kind of has just moved through Davenport. That one's no longer tornado warned. Still's got a really strong kind of gust front here pushing out. Still's got some pretty strong winds, especially on the north side of this storm, where there's a little bit of rotation right in there. So we'll have to watch, because as this thing kind of pushes this way, if it's strong enough, it could, if there's kind of winds trying to flow in this way, something little could spin up here, right in that corner where that notch is. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. That could be an area that we're going to have to watch. Nothing on the south side. There's not really much. Interesting part is the north side of the storm actually is the one that is packing the most punch right now. Still a severe thunderstorm warned. Winds possibly to 16 miles an hour. This storm to the south also has a severe thunderstorm warning. It's the south of Davenport. Excuse me. It's to the south of Davenport, and almost looks like it's kind of almost petering itself out here. It almost tried to it's almost like pushing too far this way. And it's almost cutting off its own inflow here. If we look at just what this thing looked like on radar, look at this frame. This frame was really strong. Remember, Dan, that was about 30 minutes ago, and then it kind of almost pushed too far and weakened a little bit. Now it's looking like it's starting to re-strengthen, at least on the north side. Right up here is kind of your band of probably your strongest winds here, and maybe some hail with it. And that's why, okay, yeah, it looks like the National Weather Service just extended that severe thunderstorm warning just to the south of Davenport. So Davenport, if you live on the south side, if you live on the north side, you're going to get hit by storms regardless. So yeah, this thing's gonna push its way just to the south of Davenport, Iowa. And they just extended this severe thunderstorm warning north Davenport. So still strong storm, and the National Weather Service is still saying that there's a possibility of a tornado with this thing, but not enough to actually warrant a tornado warning just yet. Okay. And I think that's really we have another severe thunderstorm warning up in just to the west of Madison, Wisconsin. Let's look at this over here. Where's the closest radar? Okay. All right, so pretty gnarly storm, and I think actually the severe thunderstorm warning just dropped from that. So, right when I looked at it, it dropped. I don't know what's going to happen when these two areas of convection merge. That's going to make a one heck of a sloppy mess for southern Wisconsin here. So Madison, you just got hit by a pretty gnarly storm. Now we've got another one just off to the west of Madison, Wisconsin. Strong winds and probably some hail with it, and a lot of lightning. There's a ton of lightning with these storms. Let's look at Chicago and see what Chicago's got. Okay, so Chicago right now, you've got this line of storms that's going to be possibly moving your way later tonight. Probably be there in a couple of hours. Nothing necessarily immediately concerning. There's a storm right to the south that's looking pretty nasty, but no warning on that. Just a lot of lightning and some rain and some wind. And I think let's see where that's pushing.
I'll be right back.
Yep. All right, no worries, Dan. All right, so this storm is probably just going to go just to the south of Chicago. Might hit the Chicago, the south suburbs of Chicago. Gary, Hammond could get a gnarly storm, and that'll just be round one. There'll be a second round possibly later on tonight. Is Rockford going to be okay? Let's go check on Rockford. Let me just get the right radar. Let's take a look. Okay. And I believe you're talking about Rockford, Illinois, right? Okay, so Rockford's up here. Rockford, you guys just had a line move through, and that line was wasn't too bad. But the area of concern that we're watching right now is just to the south, just to the southwest of that. It's where we've got two severe thunderstorm warned storms, and this north one is probably going to slide just to your north. So if you're looking at the south one is most likely the one that's going to impact Rockford. Let me just put a tracker on this to see where it looks like it's looking like it's going to go. Yeah, so if I were a betting man, this storm's just gonna pass to the north of Rockford. This storm's probably just gonna pass to the south of Rockford. So right now, you guys, there's not necessarily any immediate danger in the next 10 minutes, but probably within about, if I would look, let's just do some quick math here to see how far away is Rockford from our storm. So Rockford, you're about 70 miles away from this, away from our northern cell, and about 90 miles away from our southern cell. So you've probably got another hour before this thing hits, maybe a little bit longer. And when it does, there's no guarantee it could be still strong. It could be. It is moving into an area of some stronger conditions, so we'll have to, have to watch this. But Rockford, no immediate danger, but could have these storms are coming your way. So not necessarily time to panic or anything like that, but just have a plan in place. Have a plan in place in case something does happen, and you do get a warning. Have a place to go. Have a tornado shelter or a basement, or if you don't have either one of those, find the most interior room of your house. Put as many walls as you can between you and the outside world, and preferably no windows. Whoops, that is not what I meant to do. Interestingly enough, we have a third severe thunderstorm warning, and this is just to the still in Illinois here. It's Charleston, Illinois, and look at that! Look at the lightning. This is I tell you what, this is the Energizer Bunny here. We've got a storm it's pretty small, but it's packing a punch. Look at all the lightning and the hail with this thing. It's like the little Energizer Bunny that could. It's right here. Look at all the lightning with that storm. So that's another severe thunderstorm warning. Winds to about 60 miles an hour. Hail probably about an inch, maybe a little bit more. Don't think necessarily this has any immediate tornado threat though, which is good. Guys, I'm curious to see too where you guys are at. If you guys in the chat, if you guys want to let me know where you're at, if I can give you guys a forecast. I can check what the weather's going to be like there. If you're seeing any interesting weather, you have any fun videos or anything from yesterday or today. I know Cindy sent us something yesterday. Go ahead and tag me on Twitter if you've got it at Stormcat5, and that way I can see what you're posting. You can also direct message me there as well if you've got any cool content that you'd like to share, or any sort of things you want me to show on the stream. If you tag me, I'll go ahead and show it here. I know we had Cindy sent us some clips yesterday from the storms. And Dan, I'm going to bring up this radar because this is exactly what I was talking about right now. So we've got our storms, and maybe Dan, you could put the storms on there if that's possible. But we've got our storms currently inside of those polygons, those warnings, and we've got just to the north and east that area of red, that area of purple, which is, I think that's Freeport, right? Is that Freeport, Illinois, where that's centered on? Wait. Okay, that is Freeport.
It is.
Okay. So just kind of to the west of Rockford, you've got that's really where your best conditions are for tornadoes. And so these storms are moving into that area, or will be moving into that area, assuming it doesn't slide too far to the east. But as long as these storms can keep chugging to the north and east, they should be moving into that area where these things could strengthen and kind of recycle and form another circulation. Right now, they're kind of in the yellows and oranges, so still in a potent environment, but not as strong of an environment as just off to the northeast. So these storms, even though there's severe thunderstorm warning now, could in theory strengthen. Seen crazier things happen. And a pretty gnarly area of storms right now. This is Davenport just got hit. You're about to get hit again. Luckily, looks like the strongest is just to the south, but pretty strong area of convection that just blew up. Burlington, you're about to get hit pretty hard. Raymond says, like you going crazy, Brady. I know you do. You just want me to eat a bunch of Taco Bell on street, man. You're killing me. Elizabeth says she's. Go ahead, Dan.
I was gonna say Raymond's moved on to Domino's for you.
Yeah. Oh, gross. I'll tell you this right now. I may be shamed for this, but Domino's, like, I can't even be in the same room as them, as the pizza. Not any employees. I'm sure the employees and people that work there are great, but the pizza, it's just the smell makes me think back to like my college days, and it's just like there's just some trigger there where I'm like I have like a gag reflex. I can't even be in the same room as Domino's Pizza, so that is for sure going to be a no for me, Raymond, on the Domino's. I'm a Romeo's guy. I don't know. Call me crazy. Nikki says, "Hey freaks, hey Nikki, how are you? Great to see you again. Thanks for joining." Jess has Little Caesars pizza. Yeah, I would eat Little Caesars pizza every single day of the week over Domino's. I think I might rather die than eat Domino's. Yeah, I'm with you there, Raymond, for sure. Local pizza places. 10 times if you guys are ever in Columbus, Ohio, Tommy's Pizza, please go there. That is I think some of my favorite pizza that I've ever had. And that's a local mom and pop. They've got a couple locations, but Nikki likes Donato's. Yeah, Donato's is solid too. Donato's is also a Columbus-based company. Look at that. Okay. All right. So we've got some pretty strong storms. Davenport, you're going to hit pretty good. Just to the south of Davenport, you've got still some storms moving through. Still 2 severe thunderstorm warnings for those. They're starting to line out a little bit. Just in the last couple of frames, they're starting to tilt a little bit more as the winds kind of really ramp up behind them. So you can still get tornadoes out of that, but you've got to have winds kind of coming in like this. And right now, I think the winds are more like that. So they'll just make it a little bit harder to get some tornadoes to form there. Raymond says he likes pizza in Cohoes. I think that's a pizza place or a town. I'm not sure. Okay. So really quickly, while we've got this little bit of a lull, for those that are watching last night, I want to look at what were the storm reports last night? Because if you remember, we streamed from about 8 p.m. to about midnight, and I paid a little bit of the price this morning when I woke up, but now we are back on the streaming gang, and we're gonna go for as long as we can. We're gonna go for as long as there's action tonight. If things kind of calm down and these storms kind of continue to slide out of the enhanced risk and don't look that bad, we'll probably end. But we'll go till these storms kind of move into area of less and start. They don't look that great. But let's look at the storm reports from yesterday, just to see what we had yesterday. So we were live. For about 4 hours yesterday. We had a total of seven tornado reports, and none of which were the ones that we followed, because they happened after we went to bed, right? So we had a total of 7 tornado reports yesterday. Looks like we had about 4 in eastern Kansas, and then looks like we had 1 in southern Nebraska. And it looks like we had said, okay, in southern Nebraska, there's a brief EF0 tornado that was reported or that occurred. It's like the National Weather Service was pretty confident that touchdown. Tornado spotted 2 miles south of Eureka, Kansas. There was a power flash. Looks like emergency management saw that. And these were all, let's see, this is UTC time again. So this one was, I think, at about 2 a.m., 2:54 a.m. There was someone reported a tornado debris signature on the radar. So that happened. And then we had a EF0 tornado, like we had said. And then in the early morning hours, we had an EF1 tornado, looks like, with peak winds about 110 miles an hour that occurred in Osage County in Kansas. And I actually think they corrected the previous report. Maybe this was a different report. And there was 2 injuries sustained. Okay, so there were 2 injuries with this tornado. It looks like that we had. So we had a EF1 tornado, EF0 tornado, and then possibly another tornado that was in Smith County in Kansas. So those were the reports we had yesterday. Had a total of 78 wind reports. And just incredibly fascinating, right? I think we all thought the severe weather was going to be focused along the dry line and initiate earlier, and it just didn't happen, right? It really took. We could even go back and look at the radar for those that let's see how many frames we can do. Let's see. Let's go back and just give you guys what we looked at last night. And I'm wondering how far this is going to go back. Loading. And I don't think this was far enough back. No, this is not far enough back. Let's just see what happened last night. So this only goes to 6 a.m. this morning. Yeah, Raymond says he saw a PDS tornado when I got up at 7 a.m. this morning. Yeah. I think there was. So this was about 7 a.m. this morning. I think this was, let's check the Kansas City radar, see what we had at the beginning. I think that's where the actual report was. Okay, so I think it was these storms as they moved just to the northeast of Kansas City. So we had some pretty nasty storms that yeah, there it is. There. I think these are the ones that we had. So we had a pretty active morning, pretty active afternoon. We still have a pretty active event going on. And oh yeah. Jess says you got to click the clock to go back farther. Yeah, we will. And actually that's a good point. Let's try that. Let's go back. Let's just see yesterday let's go yesterday at about 20Z. Okay. And then let's go to select my time. All right. So let's look at this, and I'll just quickly show you guys a recap of what happened last night while we're kind of waiting for these storms to continue moving into the area. But because last night was pretty fascinating, right? Because we had a pretty conditionally strong, but still possibly a strong event that we were expecting, and it just didn't really materialize. And we had to end the stream at about midnight, so I want to see what happened after midnight here. And it's taking its sweet old time to load here. It's a classic hotel Wi-Fi that we're working with. And interesting. Okay. I don't think I actually went back far enough here. Because that's actually the low. All right, I'll get this working in just a second. Hey, Dan, welcome back.
Appreciate it.
Trying to get this radar to work. It's just not cooperating with me right now. All right, I'll figure this out another time. I'm just going to actually try reloading it. Sydney, thanks for joining. Appreciate it. All right, so let's look at our storms here. We now have a total of 4, or I think it's 5. Yeah, 5. A total of 5 severe thunderstorm warnings. 4 of them are located. Gosh, look at Davenport. Davenport's about to get slammed again, man. Just poor Davenport. A couple of cells I think I'm interested in is this one is that cell that continues to hang together and is looking like it's pretty strong. We'll have to watch this and make sure this. Let's just look at the velocity here. Okay, so actually a broad area of rotation here. We've got some. Remember, red is going away from the radar. Green is going towards the radar. So we've got kind of some winds. That's probably the outflow, right? Pushing out, and then we've got some winds, I guess. Going the opposite way. So this is a broad area of rotation here. We'll have to keep an eye on that. But that's most likely just the outflow from the storm pushing out. This is a pretty strong storm, pretty strong outflow. So nothing too concerning just yet. But look, this is the storm that I think a lot of storm chasers are on right now. We also have this other line, which is a pretty compact line of storms, pretty strong. You've got a couple bowing structures here. You've got winds kind of pushing this out this way, winds pushing this out this way, and this is marching pretty fast to the. I think these are marching pretty fast to the east. I would bet these are starting to catch up to our storms that are forming out in front of this. So that's probably the new. Whoops! Yikes! I'm going back way too far. This is probably going to be the new area of focus here. These storms, I think, are still, starting to fall apart a little bit. I think we'll see if they can catch up to that area of strong parameters, but nothing too serious at this point. So this is a really big severe thunderstorm warning. It's for Monmouth, the city of Monmouth, Burlington, Galesburg, all in Illinois. I think Burlington is right on the Illinois. Burlington's actually technically in Iowa. But this all those towns. This warning includes you guys. This is a severe thunderstorm warning. We don't currently have any active tornado warnings right now, which that's good for now. But these storms, and looking at this one, this is a little wow. Do you see this, Dan? This is a little like embedded mesovortice here. Let me just quickly show you guys here. See right there. So that's actually really cool. Just watch this storm just to the south of Davenport in the center of the screen. Watch it kind of a little bit of a meso there develop, and that's basically from like winds just absolutely feeding into this thing, pushing this thing out, making it bow out, and then the rain kind of tends to wrap around back this way in response to those strong winds. So yeah, MCV. Yep, that's exactly right. That's pretty fast. That's usually pretty indicative of a pretty strong winds with this storm. So, and sometimes the winds blow so strong that you can actually kick something up or spin something up in terms of a tornado. So these storms are starting to really pick up here. Especially this secondary line looks way stronger than it did just a little bit ago.
Yeah, that line down by Burlington, 60-mile-an-hour winds, penny-size hail.
Okay, all right. That's Not incredibly big, but 60-mile-an-hour winds, nothing to joke about. Still got some pretty strong winds with the storm up moving just to north of Clinton. Still got a severe thunderstorm warning up there. Got a massive severe thunderstorm warning. The tornado possible tag on it moving through Davenport. This is just a huge blob of storms. A lot of lightning with these. We'll have to keep an eye on this little notch here, pushing in, because this storm is going to keep bulging outwards, and as it does, it's going to cause the wind to start to turn around here, and you could get a little appendage that tries to form and spin up there. Yeah, that's the good. That's a good question, Raymond. I mean, the tornado outbreak of April 14th through 16th, 2011 was. I mean, that's the. I think that's the super. I think that's the super outbreak. I mean, I think those 2 dates actually, or that outbreak had some of the largest. One of the largest recorded outbreaks in U.S. history. I think there were total. Yeah, I'm looking up a total of 178 confirmed tornadoes across 16 states. So that's a huge event. But I'm not sure. Pun intended. Yes, I think Raymond definitely. If I know Raymond, he takes every opportunity to throw in puns there. All right, so total 4 severe thunderstorm warnings here. These storms are going to continue to slide off to the north. These, let's just see what speed they're moving at. See if they're moving fast or slow. I think they're moving fairly fast. Actually, hold on. They're actually moving kind of slow. They're moving northeast at about 30 miles an hour. So some of the storm we looked at yesterday was moving, I think, at about 45 or 50. So 30 isn't, 30 isn't, 30 isn't necessarily incredibly slow, but it's not like, if you think you're driving 30 miles an hour through a neighborhood, that's pretty fast for a neighborhood. But if you drive 30 miles an hour on a freeway, there's going to be some pretty mad people. I can tell you that right now. Dan, have you ever been pulled over for driving too slow, the speed limit wise?
I have not.
That's good. That's good. I think if you have, it's a problem. And I'm not saying I'm an angry driver, but and I don't like to drive that fast. But if you're going, 50 in the fast lane, it's like, just get over, please. Do us all a favor.
You should drive with a purpose.
Yes. Now, I'm not advocating speeding. Don't speed. Just go the speed limit. That's all I'm advocating for. All right, so let's look at this cell about to go into Indiana, because this is another interesting cell that still severe thunderstorm warned. About to go into Paris. Probably some hail, some strong lightning, or some strong winds, maybe some lightning with this. Nothing too serious though. Still, if you're outside in these areas, I would make a plan to get indoors. You'll probably see it coming with the lightning, but could be some strong winds with that thing. Chicago, the southern suburbs of Chicago are about to get. If you look south, I bet you're probably going to get a pretty decent light show. These storms are moving towards Valparaiso, Indiana, and Gary. That's actually where I went to college for a semester. So Big shout out to my Valparaiso comrades. I know you guys are watching. Phil says he's never been pulled over for driving too slow.
I would believe that.
I think I would too, since whenever we storm chase, I'm usually in the car behind Phil, and we're always like, where did Phil go? And he's just driving 90, you know?
Yeah, flashback to West Texas last year.
Yes. Oh, Phil. Phil loved driving fast. He's like Ricky Bobby. I like to go fast. I'm Ricky Bobby. All right. Dan, I wonder, let's pull back up your radar and let's just see where those parameters are. So that's updated, right?
Yeah, and those warnings are updated at the bottom as well.
Okay. Yeah, the interestingly enough, so we've got our storms, and then we've also got our let me just put this on the big screen. We've got our storms, and we've also got our parameters here. So those parameters measure like things in the atmosphere. They measure, a couple different things, a couple different conditions. Those aren't static. Those change over time. And so just because they're centered over Freeport now doesn't mean they will continue to be centered over there. So I think what I'm seeing is that they're starting to lift north too. So it's almost like they're racing to see who can get to Lake Michigan first. It's gonna be interesting to see if the storms can catch up to those parameters. Because if they can't, they're probably going to continue to struggle in terms of not becoming tornado producers. Yeah, look, and I think the latest, that's the latest radar scan. But they're going to continue to possibly struggle to form tornadoes unless they can catch up to those parameters. Yep. And Phil said, nice Allison House data there, Dan. Yeah, we're really, really thankful to Allison House for this data that they're showing is pretty cool. It's really cool to look at the radar plus the stuff on top of it, because oftentimes you can tell, okay, is this storm going to strengthen? Is it going to weaken? There's a lot of different conditions you can look at there to give you guys an idea of what's going to happen next.
Yeah, I've been a customer of Allison House for a number of years. In fact, I've got some of their data being pulled into my radar scope as well.
Oh, cool! Love that. Yeah, they just I pulled it into my radar scope too, and you can do really cool stuff on it. Like you can like even pull up the visible satellite and other things on your radar scope, which I never knew you could do, but with the Allison House integration, you can. So it's pretty neat. Yeah, so we're gonna have to watch these storms. If they can sort of catch up to that area of strong tornado potential, we could be in for some problems. But right now, looks like a lot of the storms are well to the south. That's probably why we're not seeing a widespread outbreak of tornadoes right now. I know we had earlier, right as we started the stream, we had several tornado warnings. We had a tornado that possibly touched down, and but we went live, and then things just started to calm down, which is good. We don't want them to get crazy, because that means that people's lives are possibly being impacted by those. But we still have a dangerous line of storms, probably a pretty strong line of storms. It's moving through, just crossing the Iowa-Illinois border.
Yeah, and if you get a moment for an educational break, we could actually take a look at the significant tornado parameter equation and see what all is included in that.
Oh, the equation! I like that. It's been a while since I've done equations. I'm looking through our videos to see if we have any fun videos we can play on that. I don't think so. All right, we'll look at that, and Dan, if you want to get the variables ready, we'll start cooking that in just a second. Go ahead and pull that up. I'm gonna go ahead and just give us a quick update on what do we got in terms of watches, what do we got in terms of mesoscale discussions. Only one active mesoscale discussion right now. That's concerning the severe thunderstorm watch. That was about 55 minutes ago. Jude. Severe weather risk continues, but appears to be lowering and likely diminishing with the loss of daytime heating. So that's good news for Missouri. Looks like your guys' severe weather risk is kind of dying down, which is a good thing. We still have 2 active tornado watches, mostly for that Illinois-Iowa border. This one goes until 8 o'clock Central. So this expires in about 40 minutes. This was issued pretty decently early on. And early on, there was a pretty high probability of tornadoes. Looks like that has definitely decreased. We haven't seen as many tornado warnings. We haven't seen as many tornadoes occur, which is good. So we had some tornadoes touch down earlier, and now it looks like that risk is starting to decrease, which is good. And we also have our other tornado watch is in northern Illinois, southern Wisconsin. That's including about 5 or 6 counties: Boone, Lee, DeKalb, Ogle, LaSalle, and Winnebago. Those are counties in Illinois, in Wisconsin, Dane, Lafayette, Green, Rock, and Iowa. That's hilarious. There's an Iowa county in Wisconsin, and it's really close to Iowa. That's probably very confusing to the residents. Those poor residents of Iowa County, Wisconsin. That cannot make submitting an address on something fun for anyone. They probably get so many. Wait, are you in Iowa or are you in Wisconsin? Anyway, sorry if anyone on the stream lives in Iowa County, Wisconsin. So those are active tornado watches. We still have a severe thunderstorm watch, central and southern Illinois, western Missouri. So that's our other severe thunderstorm watch that we have. So those are the 3 watches that we have currently. We've got an active line of storm that's producing some severe weather right now, but at least in the short term, it looks like the tornado threat has died down a little bit, which is a good thing. All right, Dan, let's pull this up. Let's pull this up and check this out. So we're going to play our quick little video here, and we're going to get right into this educational minute. All right, so what is the significant tornado parameter? And this is essentially it's a combination of multiple parameters. When we say parameters, we're basically just talking about like different things that you can measure, like in the atmosphere, and all of these things will tell us, do we have a higher or lower chance of getting a tornado, right? And a significant tornado at that. So, the equation here is right above, which is right above where Dan highlighted, right? It's essentially, it's a combination of CAPE. It's a combination of relative helicity, I believe, or helicity. It's a combination of the sin in the atmosphere. So that's like, sin is like the opposite of CAPE. Think about like CAPE is how much energy is in the atmosphere. Sin is how much, or the propensity for air to rise. Sin is like, okay, basically saying, okay, if you've got more sin, you've got a cap, you've got air is going to sink generally. And then The LCL is that fourth parameter. LCL is like the cloud base, right? So how high or low are the clouds possibly, right? Or how high or low is the base of that storm? So the lower the LCL, the lower the storm, right? And generally the lower the storm, the closer that storm is, the closer that cloud base is to the ground, the easier it is for you to get a pretty strong tornado. Oftentimes you have, when some of the strongest tornadoes, you've got really low LCLs, so the cloud base is really low to the ground. So that's what that parameter does. Is it's a combination of this. The significant tornado parameter is a combination of several different factors, right? And all of those can give us an indication that, okay, is our conditions more right for a strong tornado? If the higher the number and the darker the colors on the map, the higher the chance you're going to get a strong tornado. Now, once again, as we're seeing, you could have a storm just like we saw last night. You could have a storm in pretty high parameters, but nothing happened, right? And that's just the nature of the beast. That's just the nature of weather, and that's why it's so hard to predict. Dan, anything you would add on the this parameter that we're looking at?
No, you explained it really well. Appreciate you doing that. And then I encourage anyone to, if you have questions about different products and parameters and what have you, go to the SPC website. This is directly from the SPC website.
Yeah, I would agree with that, Dan. It's really cool to see these things, just because stuff like this isn't necessarily common knowledge, but it's cool to see exactly what like when we say this, what we actually are looking at. And by the way, Dan is behind the scenes calculating that by hand, right, Dan? You're using your algebra skills.
Yeah, carrier one.
Yeah, right. I think I remember actually having to do this calculation in college for one of my tests, and I was not looking forward to it. At least there was no like derivatives or anything in this, though, which is, those are the bad ones. Dan, we got a question about the supercell composite. I wonder if you could pull that up too. That could be cool to look at. Jess also, while Dan's pulling that up, Jess also said, I think what's happening with that Dodge City storm yesterday was the LCL was so high up it couldn't connect to the ground. Yes, that was, there was actually a tweet that I'll pull up here that I think described it pretty good. And of course I gotta sign in. You've got to be kidding me. But oh my gosh, how am I not signed in? Yikes. But let me actually see if I can look this up. I'll do this here. Okay. Oh, come on. All right, sorry, guys.
So while Brady's going through this difficult time, if everyone could show your support in the chat.
Yes, show your support in the chat for my very occasionally technologically challenged mind. I cannot figure out how I think I just changed my password. That's why it's okay, I did. Okay. But two, what Dan is showing on the screen right now, we have the supercell composite, which is another parameter that we use to basically measure whether or not the environment is ripe for supercells. And supercells is generally what we spawn tornadoes from. Some of the strongest tornadoes are spawned from supercells, and they are generally the ones that can give us the most problems in terms of our in terms of our severe weather. But let me pull something up because all right. Wow. Where is it? I thought I liked it.
It's actually using the same parameters, with the exception, looks like, of SIN. So it's got Cape, it's got the storm relative helicity, and the effective bulk wind difference.
Yeah. Yeah. So this parameter is basically, so it's got, yeah, like Dan said, it's got Cape, it's got helicity, and what was the third one?
Effective bulk wind difference.
Okay, which I think is kind of like wind shear almost. I would equate that to wind shear. So this is just a different. It's just another flavor of it's a different kind of recipe, right? I always like comparing it to like bacon and cake, right? This is just a different. This is like a different pastry we're baking here, and this is a good.
Has issued a tornado warning for.
Tornado warning for eastern Lafayette County in south central Wisconsin.
All right. Well, there's our first tornado warning that we've got. So we'll jump back over to the radar here in just a second to look at that. But we have a new tornado warning for East Lafayette County in southeastern Wisconsin. So let's Dan's got it up on the radar. I'm gonna go ahead and pull it up on mine too and see what we see. We'll come back to this in just a second, but I do want to get to the urgent kind of tornado warning here. Let's kind of look at what this is. So currently, this is the storm that we're looking at. This is a radar indicated tornado warning, and this is for, let's see, it's for Milwaukee and Sullivan counties, I believe, and that's in Lafayette. That's in Lafayette, Wisconsin. So this is a radar indicated tornado warning. And basically what that means is it's not a guarantee. We don't necessarily have confirmation of a tornado on the ground, but this storm is capable of producing a tornado. This is a radar indicated rotation. So let's go ahead and look at see what the velocity is. Okay. So fairly weak in terms of the velocity here. And this is just this one radar, so maybe the National Weather Service has a different radar, but still, and it's in a line of storms, so it's going to be pretty hard to tell whether or not this has got a tornado or not. But let me look at a different radar here, see if I can get a better view. Let's look at the Davenport radar. Okay. All right, so not really much here in terms of rotation. It's kind of winds pushing this way, some winds kind of wrap it around here. So if there would be one, it would be right in kind of the center of your screen. Let me just double check the other products we have. Yeah, so no real debris with this thing, which is good. But tornado warning that we've had in a couple of hours, or in about an hour. So this storm's going to be moving towards Argyle, Wyoda, Gradient, I think. You guys are all kind of in the path of where this circulation is going to go over. So take this warning seriously. This is a radar indicated tornado warning, just issued for South Wisconsin, or just like about 30 miles to the southwest of Madison, Wisconsin. This storm is moving, I think, at about 35. I thought it said no. It's wow. It's moving northeast at 20 miles an hour. So this thing is kind of taking its sweet old time moving to the northeast. But still, this thing could be producing a tornado. But right now, this is radar indicated.
Yeah, there's some pretty good speech here I'm seeing.
Okay. Yeah, so that means that this storm is rotating broadly. Now, can it produce a tornado? That still remains to be seen. I wonder, Dan, if there's any other radars you can see. Just look at some other radars and see if you can see any strong rotation with this thing. Because every radar I'm looking at seems pretty fairly weak, and it's like right in there. Sometimes they have like local radars, like in Madison. There's none that are showing for me, but sometimes they have local radars that can pick up a better view. But I don't think. And okay, so this is a little bit better, I think, in terms of. So there's your kind of weak couplet right there. You've got a really strong area of winds here, of winds pushing, winds pushing up towards the radar this way, and you've got some winds kind of wrapping around this way. So that's where your couplet would be, or that's where your tornado most likely would be kind of just moving into Gratiot, Wyota, Argyle. That's kind of the track of this thing, would be kind of moving up this way. So take this warning seriously. But this is our first tornado warning that we've had in a decent bit. That's the least couplet I've ever seen. Yeah, there's not much there. I will say that, but when you've got a strengthening low like this, and stuff's kind of. I mean, this whole area of showers and storms is just like it wraps all the way around. Like if we look up here, I think there's some action up here. Yeah, so it's this is a big area of low pressure here that's spinning its way. Anytime you have this, you've got a front, you've got a dry line. I think the dry line's actually back here. But you've got a front pushing out this way. I think that's most likely a cold front. You've got your low should be up here, and then you might have a warm front out here. Anytime you have a system like this, you've got really strong winds, low level jet really cranking out in front of this thing. You've got winds pushing behind this. You've got some pretty you'll have on the north side of that, or on the back side of the cold front, you've got winds pushing like this. Out in front, you've got winds pushing like this. So these storms all will tend to rotate, and that's what we're seeing with a lot of these. And so anytime you have that setup like this, it's pretty easy to get a spin up from the environment. So that's why I think the National Weather Service, if it talks like a duck and walks like a duck, it probably is a duck, or it could be a duck, I guess, tonight with this thing. So,
well, they know their area. They can look at the radar and say, yeah, this is for this area. That's what we're gonna warn for.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I would agree with that, Dan. Looks like we've got friend of the show on this storm. I think this is Vince. We won't pull up his stream, but Vince Walty's stream. So he's getting in the path of this thing. So it'll be interesting to see if he can get on that storm quickly. I bet he's probably moving probably eastern, maybe he's just going to sit there and let it kind of come to him. But Vince is on there. Oh, that's like his home stream? Is that really his home stream? No way. That'd be pretty wild. Yeah, just says that it's a QLCS type thing. Yeah, this is starting to get, these are all starting to kind of combine into a line of storms. Corey Lee says that's his home stream. Yeah, that's hilarious. That's literally his home. I really hope he's not down. Oh wait, I think he is. Yeah, he is. So that's his home stream. That's hilarious. So Vince Vince is probably kicking himself that he's not home right now. So that's the only active tornado warning. All right, so we'll come back at that tornado warning in just a second. We'll take a look back down at these storms pushing to the east. Look, there's some pretty strong storms here. Just moved into Aledo. Just moved through Aledo. Winds of about 60 miles an hour. Penny-sized hail. Hail. It doesn't look like it's that the threat hasn't really materialized, at least while we've started to stream. So, still got a severe thunderstorm warning for that cell just to the east of Davenport. So Davenport, hopefully you guys won't get hit again tonight. It looks like you guys are at least in the clear for now. But that storm is still got a severe thunderstorm warning on it. Still mentions there's a possibility of a tornado, but just looking at rotation, doesn't look like there's much there. Goosius said, "I'm in South Elgin and DuPage County. Am I okay for now?" Let's see. Is that in Illinois? Let's see. DuPage County, Illinois. That's a nice little picture that it shows me. No, I don't want to see the property taxes there. Okay, so I think DuPage County is just to the, looks like just west of Chicago, right? I think. Okay, here it is. Okay. Yeah, you're Goosius, you're good for now. You just had a line of storms move through. Later tonight, you're gonna get this this line off to the west, right here. These storms down here are probably going to be the ones that are gonna impact you. So I think just looking at the tornado parameters, there's not incredibly huge cause for concern, but I think there is going to be a pretty strong line of storms that moves through. If it can hold together, that's going to move through Chicago late tonight. At least maybe the northern suburbs of Chicago, so you could get some nice. This could be a little bit of a noisy night for you, Goosiest, but no immediate danger right now. Jess says, looks like there was a new mesoscale discussion, so I'll look at that. Okay, so this was so Cameron Nixon. I actually had class with him. We had him on our podcast a couple of weeks ago. He tweeted something that I think was, so this was from last night, and this was when this was the storms that we were following, and if you guys can remember that little bitty storm that we were looking at. You had the dry line you had the dry line here, which was where this kind of blob of rain was, and then you had this storm, which this was the Dodge City storm that. And I hate that we keep calling that because it did nothing. It didn't do any damage, so it doesn't. Every time we hear the Dodge City, we think of like a tornado, but this was just a Dodge City rain cloud that had some lightning to it. But this was they just like you said, had a high LCL, had bone dry air, which I think at the surface it had some pretty moist air, but I think Cameron was basically saying at the middle levels of the atmosphere had some strong low level shear, but didn't have weak mid to upper level shear. So that means you had at the surface the winds were kind of turning and cause, but as you went up, I think the storm was struggling to rotate because of that weak mid to upper level shear, like Cameron had said, right? And here was the point he was talking about, right? Of this was the sounding from around that area, and look at the moisture. It was 64 at the surface, so pretty moist, but as it went up, I mean, it just got absolutely bone dry. So I think Cameron Nixon had a really good point here of why things didn't kick off yesterday. So that was a potential reason why that storm yesterday just didn't really get going. It's hilarious. So this is the latest mesoscale discussion from the National Weather Service. And it just says the severe risk continues, period. So very, very short and sweet to the point, right? We love that. But no mention of any tornadoes or any sort of immediate threat. So I think let's just go down and read the description here.
Yeah, they do mention it is possible.
Okay. The ongoing cluster of thunderstorms over eastern Iowa is expected to move into west central Illinois and southern Wisconsin in the next hour. Buoyancy, which buoyancy is tendency for stuff to rise, generally decreases with north and eastward extent as previous convection has overturned. So the previous storms that moved through kind of depleted the atmosphere, right? So there isn't a lot of cape, it looks like, for those storms to tap into. But 500 to 1,000 of cape is there. So that's still a decent amount. You still can get a pretty good outbreak from that. Still, we got strong deep layer shear. So that'll cause storms to stay organized. But it looks like damaging winds, this is the key part of this. Damaging winds appear to be the most likely threat giving the linear mode. So linear, these storms are pretty, they're forming a line, and I think we're seeing that on radar. It looks like the discrete stage is probably over. We might not have any more storms kind of sitting by themselves, but hail and a couple tornadoes will remain possible. So that's basically they're saying, hey, let's keep this tornado watch going. We still could get some nasty storms. Damaging wind looks like it's the most likely threat, but we still could get some tornadoes here. So thank you for bringing that up, Jess. He is no crook. He knows his stuff. Yeah. He is, Cameron is, when I was in school with him, he was definitely the smartest kid in the class. So it's pretty awesome. All right, let's go back to the radar here and let's just see what we got cooking. Okay. So it looks like we still got one active, I think. Yeah, one active tornado warning. Still, that's that storm in just to the southwest of Madison, Wisconsin. If I'd pull it up on radar here, still looks like a QLCS. We've got a couple areas of strong winds here, and strong winds here, kind of pushing things out. You've got kind of winds wrapping around here. So a couple areas of possible that could spin up here. Nothing incredibly concerning at the moment. We look at the warning. Still a radar indicated tornado warning. Still a dangerous storm. Nothing really on the debris. I don't think. Most of that looks like it's noise. But still, if you're in Wyoda, take this warning seriously. Argyle, take this warning seriously.
Yeah, it'll be valid for about another 13 minutes.
Okay. So this will go on for another 13 minutes. We do have a couple other severe thunderstorm warnings just to the south. Rockford, moving towards you guys. Dan, I wonder, let's pull up your radar and let's just see. Let's look at the tornado parameter now and see what it's like. And maybe let's zoom out a little bit more and just to see what the other storms are moving into. Because remember we had that blob. Okay, so it actually looks like things are still the conditions are still fairly right, but it seems like they've decreased a little bit since the last scan, right?
Yeah, it appears so.
Okay. Definitely looks like things are still dangerous. You know, things are still got a pretty strong active area of storms, but and it almost seems like they're outrunning the biggest area, or the storms are moving too slow almost to catch up to the strongest conditions. So
Yeah.
and then the other storm that we hadn't looked at in a little bit is these storms down here just to the south of Davenport. Got 2 severe thunderstorm warnings with these. We could these are definitely pretty strong right now. A lot of lightning with these. But really, if you look at it in motion, these things are struggling to rotate. I think they're pretty straight. They're pretty straight line right now. If you just look at the motion on these things, they're kind of pushing like this, and there's not much in terms of. There's a little bit in this storm, right? You can kind of see this one kind of rotating and trying to form something, but they're struggling to spin up everything. Let's look at the velocity and just see if we got anything interesting here. Yeah, not really. Pretty straight line winds, pretty linear. This that's what we mean by linear. Got a kind of a broken line here of storms. Now, you know, I'd watch this south storm, right? Maybe you could get something coming in here just because it's clear on the south, and you got, you know, a little bit of a hook. But the fact that this isn't kind of wrapped around this way means, okay, this storm isn't really rotating all that much. All right, Dan, I made my choice. I'm getting Chick-fil-A. Do you agree with that choice?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds good. I'm wondering what everyone else thinks.
Yeah, me too.
They're invested in this. You know that.
They are. They are really invested in this. It's now a thing. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think I should try something else, or should I get Chick-fil-A? Okay, Jess says boo. She doesn't want me to get Chick-fil-A. Come on, Jess. I love Chick-fil-A.
I've been watching where you can make your own Chick-fil-A at home.
Yeah, right. Although I'm in a hotel right now, so I'm not making much of anything. I'll tell you that right now.
The National Weather Service has issued a tornado warning for.
Tornado warning for northeastern Lafayette County in south central Wisconsin, northwestern Greene County in south central Wisconsin, southeastern Iowa County in south central Wisconsin, southwestern Dane County in south central Wisconsin.
All right, so that's a new tornado warning. That is for that same storm that we just looked at. That's a continuation of the existing tornado warning that we had. So this is that storm that just is southwest of Madison, Wisconsin. This is a radar indicated tornado warning, and this is for Lafayette County, Greene County, Iowa County. There's Iowa County again, Dane County in south central Wisconsin. So this tornado warning is going to go till 8:30 p.m. Central Time, and once again, this is a radar indicated tornado warning. So that's us. That's the National Weather Service saying we think that this storm could produce a tornado, but this isn't necessarily saying it is producing a tornado. But the National Weather Service say there's enough here to possibly say that there could be a tornado on the ground. And if I look at this, gosh, this is getting dangerously close to Vince's home cam. He would be so mad. Gosh, you guys are really against Chick-fil-A. Come on now. What am I gonna get? I can't get Chick-fil-A. Let's just look. Anyway, I probably should get back to the weather here. Focus on what actually matters. Actually, okay, this is interesting. This is an interesting. Just regardless of whether or not there is a tornado with this thing, there is strong winds right in here, and there's a little bit of a. Just a little bit of just a little bit of like red right in here. So you've got your winds kind of curling around here and then pushing out here, and then maybe something kind of sneaking in here. So right there is kind of your couplet if you would have one. So I think that's right in Argyle, Wisconsin. Yeah, this storm is right on top of you, if not, moving through you guys right now. Postville, New Glarus, those are a couple of other areas in the way of this storm. Madison, Wisconsin, this is your early warning. You could have a tornado producing storm on your doorstep here in probably about half an hour to an hour. All right. Just ordering something. This is what happens when you go live in the middle of the Okay, you guys are all really against me getting Chick-fil-A.
Brady,
Sandra says,
I was
yeah,
gonna say,
go ahead.
You're secretly ordering Taco Bell.
There's no way I'm getting Taco Bell. There's no way I'm getting Taco Bell. Let me look what I'm at a Marriott right now. So they got smoky bones. I don't think I'm going to do that. That sounds a little too intense. I want to get something quick because I'm starving here. Room service, yeah. I don't know. I don't actually. I know they have a restaurant downstairs. I just don't know what they. Of course, what they have. Actually, that's a really good question. I should just order something to my room, shouldn't I? Yeah, Elizabeth says I should do room service. You're probably right on. It's probably going to be too complicated to go. Smoky bones. Oh, no. I'm so mad I said that. There's no way I'm going to eat smoky bones while I'm on stream with 137 people. There's no way. There's just no way. I'm sorry. Elizabeth, I love you, but I can't. I can't do it. Plus, my hands are going to be all sticky, and then what am I going to do? Like, I'm not going to be able to keep the people safe. All right, so just looking at some of the radar scans. So that little thing could be a tornado. Looks pretty weak, though. It's pretty expected for a big mess like this. If there is a tornado, it's going to be rain wrapped. Definitely going to be rain wrapped. Now, if I have to call room service, that means there's going to be a lull. Dan's going to have to maybe do some juggling real quick while I call.
Yeah.
Dan's like, yeah, right. Here, let me. I'm gonna. You're right. I'm gonna call the front desk, and I'll play some background music while I go call them. Put on the velocity too. Okay, this is interesting, right? We're gonna have to keep an eye on this little right here. Could be something.
I mean, you've got some high wind there, and then any kind of, speed shear, or you can have a number of things contribute.
Yeah.
But it looks like you do have, some opposing wind right there as well.
You do, yeah. That doesn't necessarily mean that is a tornado, but you do have winds, going that way, and really, I mean, the winds are going that way. So it's kind of the opposite of the rotation you want. That's counterclockwise, but still could get something a little spin up there.
So we'll take a look at this if you want to go ahead and get your food in progress.
Okay. Do you want me to play some background music, or do you want to just take it?
If you do, you might want to put it on low in case they issue another warning.
Yeah. Okay. Let's try some acoustic cinematic.
Oh, Nikki's wanting to know what I'm doing for dinner. I have a lasagna that I had in the oven, so that's why I was stepping away. Let's take a look at this here. Yeah, that's going to be an area we're going to want to watch right there where he's got the arrows. Nikki says, "Yum, my fave." That sounds like she likes lasagna too.
I'm on hold right now. I don't know what they could be doing.
Breaking news, Brady's on hold. Okay, looks like that is starting to... It's looking interesting.
Still on hold. I really hope they're not watching the stream.
They're definitely not screening their calls, right?
All right, apparently they're also I think my chair just got way low, because now I'm like, yeah, it did. My chair just got way low. Okay, there we go. That'd be pretty unreal. This is insane. I've been on hold for like...
So we have this one.
Good question, Agent Solver. Let's see. Right now, Rockford is just... They're going to get hit by a storm. They're not in the path of the tornado warning. Rockford is well to the south and the east. These storms, if I put these in motion, these are all going, these are all lifting to the north and east. So I don't think, well, Rockford is not going to be in the path of this tornado warned storm. Now, Rockford will get probably, if I would guess, probably this storm down here, which isn't as, it's not warned, doesn't have a severe thunderstorm warning, but Rockford still probably is going to get hit by a storm in the next probably 20 to 30 minutes, I would say. Yeah. Do you guys have? Do you guys do like room service for food?
Oh, that music was pretty tense. So this tornado warning is going to continue until 8:30 local. Looks like it's coming up. Storm is passing Postville right now.
All right, be right back. Just one more second, Dan. Keep distracting. I'm gonna get a drink of water.
Okay. Agent Solver, the line that's to your west is severe warned right now. So, you know, at this point, it's probably going to be severe warned when it gets to you, but you'll want to pay attention to how the storm has progressed once it gets there. So definitely, if you've got a weather radio, have that handy. Sandra, I don't think he's calling Chick-fil-A. I think he actually was on the phone with the front desk. So we'll see. And Jess, looks like it is headed for Madison. Yeah, if it stays on track, it will be impacting Madison before too terribly long. Okay, so Brady's back, and he's got the controls. So, Agent Solver is wanting to see
Okay. All right, guys. I am back. Can you hear me, Dan?
Yeah,
Oh, no.
Can you hear me?
Did the same thing with my audio again. There we go. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, no. And do you guys see my chair slowly getting smaller? All right, that's fine. We're just gonna work with this.
Can you hear me?
All right. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so Agent Solver is kind of concerned about the line to his west.
Yeah. All right, let's take a look at that real quick. So, Agent Sullivan, Severe Thunderstorm. Okay, so yeah, so if you're in Rockford, Agent Sullivan, there is right now there is no warnings for you yet. There is a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings. There's one directly off to your west. That storm should lift to your north, though. So, I think that the area that you, and I can just put this in motion real quick just to show you what we're looking at. But I think the area that whoops, didn't go. The storm that is possibly going to hit you is this storm to the south, right? So this storm right in here, which the north end of this is severe thunderstorm warned, and it looks like they're expecting maybe some hail, maybe some winds to 60 miles an hour. Nothing too extreme. No tornado warnings with this storm, but regardless, I think this could pack a punch with some winds, possibly some hail, and maybe probably a good lightning show for you. But the tornado warning that you were talking about is, and I can even show you how far it is away. The tornado warning storm is about, and why isn't it showing me the distance? That's weird. But I think it's about 40 or 50 miles away from you. So you're well away from the tornado warning right now, and that's I think the only tornado warning that we have, I believe. So that's the good news there. I'm actually going to refresh because looks like my radar Omega is kind of getting a little wonky here. Nikki nailed it. I was ordering a salad. Yes, I was. Yeah. I wish I was calling Chick-fil-A, Sandra, but I was not. I was ordering a salad. I guess you guys will see when it gets here.
Look forward to the unboxing of the salad.
I can tell you this, it's going to be nothing but disappointing for me. I can tell you that right now. Okay. All right, let's look back at this tornado warning, see if we see any other velocity that we should be concerned about. Still a pretty, nothing incredibly strong in terms of rotation. Got some winds pushing this way, got some winds pushing this way, some kind of winds wrapping around that way. But it's not incredibly impressive on the velocity scan. It doesn't necessarily stick out to me as being, yes, this is a tornado, but I see why they issued the warning. And oftentimes when you can get tornadoes from these lines of storms from stuff like this, right? It can spawn a quick one and then wrap back up and go back up into the clouds. So any time when you have a line of storms kind of like this, a long line of storms that basically extends from up in central Wisconsin all the way down into central Illinois, you don't typically see pretty distinct velocity signatures. So that's why these are oftentimes tough to predict and say exactly, yes, this is a tornado. No, it's not.
I just stopped the background music.
Great. Fantastic. All right. So now we only have one, just to update everyone, we have one active tornado warning. That's this storm. And it is in, just moved through Argyle and is now kind of moving in Postville, New Glarus, Blanchardville. You guys are all in this tornado warning. This is southwestern Wisconsin. This line of storms extends, like we said, from Madison, Wisconsin, all the way down to Galesburg, Illinois. Looks like most of the storm chasers have kind of called it in for the day. That doesn't mean that these storms still aren't going to pack a punch. That doesn't mean these storms still could produce a tornado. They could. They aren't right now, unless the only storm that could be or that has a tornado warning right now is about to move into Madison, Wisconsin. Let's see if we got any other warnings. Looks like we've got some storms moving into Indiana. No, nothing severe. There was a warning earlier with one of these storms down here in southern Illinois and moving into Indiana. That's now gone. Chicago, you guys have a couple of storms on the west side with a little bit of lightning. Nothing. Your main event is going to probably be in about an hour or two. We'll continue streaming here for a little bit. If things kind of calm down, we'll end the stream. If not, we'll kind of keep chugging along. But things are. We do have a pretty solid line of storms, but nothing too major at this point. I always love looking at the north side of this thing to see what the low, to find the low. The center of the low is, oh, there it is. You see that? Look at that. That's always fun to look at. So there's your center right there. It's a nice big L. So winds rotating counterclockwise around this thing. On the backside, you might have some snow. Actually, I don't know if you have snow there. I have to check. And then on the front side, you've got some storms with some lightning. Got a bit of a lull, so we could just quickly show what we got tomorrow. So I guess they just came out with the new outlook for tonight. Day one outlook. This is for the rest of the night. Have basically all of Illinois and a 5% risk for tornadoes. So that's actually a downgrade from, well, not for this area, but earlier today we had a 10% risk. We now have a 5% risk. So tornado conditions are definitely waning a little bit. Still a decently high risk, but nothing incredibly. I think as we go throughout the night, that line probably will continue to push east, but the tornado threat probably has kind of diminished a little bit. And it still is there, right? It still is there, but it wasn't as strong as it was earlier. And if you are going to get a tornado, it's going to spawn from one of those from that line. Yeah, so it looks like any rotating cells, we could get some hail. There could be an isolated tornado threat. Circulations within the line themselves. I think if we are going to get any tornadoes, it's going to be within the actual line of storms. Just like that one in Madison. That's probably going to be, if we do any of our tornado warnings, that's going to be how they're gonna happen. Looks like we also could have some severe weather in Missouri. Wait, wasn't this just enhanced? Am I seeing things? Yeah, this is just a slight now. Okay, so it is a slight. So it's not an enhanced anymore. It's a slight risk for tonight. So you could see some storms down there. Once again, tornado threat appears relatively low. Wind threat, hail threat appear relatively low for tonight.
Looks like Jess saw the new warning, and she is talking about the tour tag that they put on that as well.
Let's see. What's going on? It just said severe thunderstorm warning for Dane County and Madison. Yeah, let's go look at that. Elizabeth said, say goodnight to Squidward. Yes. Squidward is okay, so I think, yeah, okay. She's talking about this one.
Yeah, that's a big warning too.
Yeah. No kidding. So yeah, they just put a new severe thunderstorm warning for Madison, Wisconsin. And Looks like they're trying to get out some early warning for Madison. This to me says they probably will extend the tornado warning possibly. I think the National Weather Service is probably being safe rather than sorry. But this is a severe thunderstorm warning for Madison, Wisconsin, central Dane County, and central Wisconsin. 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts, and they don't mention anything about a tornado in here, but in the actual warning itself, they say a tornado is possible. So we'll have to see if they extend it. They've trimmed this tornado warning only goes for another 12 minutes. Still radar indicated. So still kind of broad area of rotation. Winds pushing up like this, winds pushing down. That's actually kind of the wrong, for things to get tornadic, you'd have to have these winds start to wrap around here. They're not really doing that right now. But still a strong storm worthy of taking seriously. It looks like Vince Welty's home is going to just get missed from the circulation. He's still going to get hit, but I think the strongest circulation will go just to his north. That's pretty hilarious. And it looks like most of our storm chasers have whoops, don't want to pull that up. Sorry. Looks like most of our storm chasers have closed their feeds for the night. So storm chasers are pretty smart too. So we may follow suit shortly here. All right, well, let's go back. We'll maybe jump back to this in just a second. Let's go back here. I'm going to close this. Let's go back here and let's just look at the outlook for tomorrow, because I think we're going to get. So tomorrow, of course, I'm not there in Ohio right now, but tomorrow we're going to get there's a slight risk over the Ohio Valley, northern parts of the Ohio Valley, mainly kind of eastern Indiana, central and northern Ohio, southeastern Michigan. That includes the city of Detroit, Fort Wayne, Cleveland, Columbus, Indianapolis. You're in the marginal. So as this kind of low moves off to the east, we'll see a severe threat tomorrow develop. And let's just see so about a 5% kind of centered around northern Ohio, southern Michigan. Nothing, still a decent risk for this part of the country. Wind threat probably looks to be a little bit further to the south, the risk. Hail threat looks to be a little bit further to the south as well. So tomorrow, I wonder if we have any storm chasers that started out here in Kansas and now drove here and now are going to, go to Ohio to see this. I would bet probably most would probably head back. Let's just see what the wording is in here. Gosh, I'm really hoping my food doesn't take 40 minutes. That's going to be a problem. All right, so let's look at the synopsis is always fun to read, but it's pretty technical. Looks like we're going to have low to mid 60 dew points spread north into Ohio and Michigan. That's plenty for severe weather. We're going to get about 1,000 to 2,000 surface-based CAPE. So that's plenty of moisture, or plenty of energy for this thing. And looks like we're going to get possibly some discrete cells initially, and then moving into more of a broken line of storms. That's pretty standard for this part of the country. We rarely get any sort of discrete supercells. when we do things, things tend to go off, but we generally, it generally mostly forms into the lines, and then we'll get the little spin ups here or there, but it seems like this environment isn't a slam dunk, right? It isn't a slam dunk tomorrow. We'll get some storms, but it's going to be a more isolated threat, and that's why you have a slight risk for tomorrow, because it isn't going to be, the conditions aren't as potent as today and yesterday. And look at today and yesterday. We didn't even, we got some tornadoes. We got a decent amount. It was a decent outbreak, but it did not, it wasn't a widespread tornadoes. Still, I mean, we're still witnessing a pretty strong, wind event with some of those storms. But so tomorrow, I think, will be even a little bit less than what we saw today, probably. So we most likely will probably not go live tomorrow. We might, if things ramp up and change, we might, but we most likely will not go live tomorrow. My team here is going to kill me if I don't go to the. Anyway, go ahead, Dan.
I was going to mention that the tornado warning has expired.
All right. So our tornado warning has officially expired. So Madison, Wisconsin looks like, for now, still expect a strong storms moving in right now. Dan, I wonder, there's got to be cameras in Madison, right? It's probably a pretty good lightning show.
Probably.
Let's see if we can pull one or two of those up. Yeah, this thing is really ramping up lightning wise, but they've taken the tornado warning off of this storm. It's probably got a pretty cool shelf cloud here with this line here. So you got winds pushing this way, pushing this way, pushing this way. So it's pretty linear. That down here is kind of interesting, but I think that's probably just so. I mean, that could be something down there. This could be an area of rotation that's trying to form here, with winds kind of probably pulling in this way. You got winds pulling, pushing this way. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Right now, that's just severe thunderstorm warning, though. But this could be a little spin up trying to happen in the line. But this storm moving into Madison, Wisconsin, just expect some not really much hail with this, under 0.75. It is about 60-mile-an-hour winds with this, so some decently strong winds. Yeah, there's your hail. So Middletown, you're probably about to get some hail. Verona, you're probably about to get a little bit of hail. Dan, Jess says 511 Wisconsin is pretty good. Gosh, Jess is all over the camps. Jess is killing it tonight. All right, let's check back in with Rockford. I know we've got someone watching Rockford down here. And yeah, you guys are probably going to get hit with a pretty good storm here. Let's just look at this in motion. I would bet you're probably going to get like this part of the storm, because things are kind of sliding up like this. So right now, that's a severe thunderstorm warning, 60-mile-an-hour winds. Nothing incredibly concerning on the velocity, I don't think. Yeah, just some winds here. Not really much rotation, but could be some gnarly winds here. All right, Dan, what you got? Oh yeah.
So you can see the lightning in the distance. A lot of their cameras are pointed down. This is about the only one I could see that had some sky in it.
Hey, that definitely has some lightning in the distance. Yeah, Jess says the same thing. A lot of them are aimed kind of lower.
But we can probably put this on the back burner, and as it approaches the city, we can start to watch it later on.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. If you look really closely, Well, first of all, I just saw a bolt. But if you look really closely, it almost is this. So this is in downtown Madison, or like near, I guess near Madison, Wisconsin.
Let me make sure. I selected out of Dane County, so
Yeah. Okay. Dane County. That's Madison. And it almost looks like, gosh, I wish they would tilt that up because I think I can almost see some storm structure with that. Okay, Jess says the University of Wisconsin Madison Atmospheric Sciences have rooftop cams. Let me see if I can pull that up. University of Wisconsin rooftop cameras. Let's see. That's kind of cool. Okay, so let's look at. We need to look west here. Ooh, that's actually kind of pretty. All right, let me pull this up real quick. All right, so this is the whoops. Let's go back to this layout. Yikes. Okay, so this is the rooftop cam looking west from the University of Wisconsin here. So that looks that's like a loop of I think the last 15 minutes. So it's pretty cool. Looks like you can start to see your storms in the distance, and then the last couple of frames is the storms kind of starting to move in. It doesn't look like there's not really a defined shelf cloud here, but cool. Let me see if I can find. Let's see what the south is looking like. That's probably pretty interesting too. Oh, look at that. That's actually sweet. Let's look at the last hour. Ooh, it was still light outside. Okay. All right, so this was earlier in the afternoon. This is about 8 p.m. Sorry, 8 p.m. Central. This is 8:30. Okay, so it's starting to get a little closer, it looks like. And I think right that last frame might be the leading edge of the storm moving in. Starting to kind of slink its way in. All right, I'll have to keep an eye on that.
hey, I'm seeing something on radar that caught my eye.
Oh, really? The Madison storm?
It's in the severe warning. Let me see if it's showing up on your radar on velocity.
Okay. Is it? Wait, are you talking about down here? Oh, yeah, down here.
Yeah, I just saw that.
Oh, yeah. So this was the storm that we just looked at just a second ago. That could be a little tornado that's formed. I mean, just in the last frame here, right in here, I would expect a tornado warning, probably for just north of New Glarus. I mean, if we're seeing that right, that looks like a couplet. That looks like what you would look for to see. And look, I mean, that corresponds to right where you'd expect it. You've got your notch here, you've got your winds kind of wrapping around here. I would bet we're about to get a tornado warning for let's just see, kind of just to the west of Belleville, just to the north of New Glaria's Primrose. I would probably guess you're going to get possibly a tornado warning here for these areas. So Belleville, the storm's about to move into your area. Oregon, the storm's kind of moving towards you guys. But I would think you could have a possibly a tornado warning issued for this little. It's a really small little area of rotation, but it does look like it's okay. Nothing shown up on debris just yet. And it's still, I think we're still waiting on the latest velocity scan. But this to me says there could be something here. There could be a tornado that's possibly moving through Montrose right now. Once this could be, this doesn't necessarily mean it's on the ground. And this could be upper, rotation that's a little bit higher in the atmosphere, but pretty decent signature there.
Yeah, even if they don't warn for it, if you're in the path, just take shelter for a few minutes till it passes, and then.
Yeah, this is probably the strongest signature I've seen. This just in the past 2 hours. So if you're in Montrose, if you're in the town of Montrose, I believe that's Wisconsin. Yeah, Montrose, Wisconsin. You've got possibly a tornadic circulation moving over your head right now. So I would treat this. If you're in Montrose, if you're in Belleville, if you're in Verona, treat this like a tornado warning. Because there could be a small little tornado kind of rain wrapped inside this storm. Good. That's a good find there, Dan. That's that same storm. If we look at a couple of frames ago that we just quickly showed, we'd said, okay, this is, we looked at the Madison one. We said that really wasn't that intimidating. But then just on the last couple of scans here, we said, okay, this looks like it's starting. This rotation is starting to curl up a little bit. And then just in this last frame, these last 2 frames, we have possibly a quick spin up that just happened.
I appreciate it. Yeah, my eyes were just like sliding across my monitor. I'm like, wait, that's pretty sharp.
Yeah. Yeah, let's pull up the cam as well. So this was Jess had said the last frame of the Madison cam looks interesting, some sort of structure. I think we're talking about over here in the right corner, right? I believe, and maybe let's see it in motion and see what we got. Yeah, there it is. That's your, I believe that's your shelf cloud moving in. Just in the last couple of frames here. Look, watch the last 2 frames. See the shelf? That's the shelf cloud. So that's the leading edge of the storm. So good call, Jess. Really good call. Dan, I am fascinated why this isn't warned.
They may just let the severe warning with the tornado tag carry it.
Maybe, but to me that looked like a tornado. I mean, okay, now, so this is the latest scan. That's now gone. So
yeah, they're spinning up so quickly. They'll be up and they'll be, so it's not worth putting out a warning.
Yep, and that's what can happen with these QLCS type stuff. Is it can spin up and then there it goes. So it takes, if they would have put out by the time they would have put out a warning, the thing could have already touched down and went back up again. So
yeah, there's a process to do the warning in AWIPS, and yeah.
So sometimes, and yeah, so look at this. All 3 severe thunderstorm warnings surrounding them all have a possible tornado tag on them. So sometimes the National Weather Service will do that and just kind of hedge their bets, and I just want to make sure there was no debris with this thing as it moved through Verona. Okay, so the good news is it doesn't look like there was no real debris signatures, so that means it probably, if it did touch down, it didn't do much of any damage. So, I think it was probably over a relatively rural. Oh yeah, wait, I was looking down. Never mind. I think it was probably over a relatively rural area of Wisconsin. So actually, let me switch to my velocity, or let me switch to my correlation coefficient down here. Yes, there didn't look like there was any debris here. Yeah, nothing really in terms of debris. So that's good. Well, if you're watching our stream, you possibly saw a tornado warning that maybe no one else did. So good eye, Dan. That was that same storm.
I appreciate it. It was a team effort.
Fits.
Team effort.
Yeah, it was. It was mostly you.
And the comments are great. Everyone's pitching in.
Oh yeah, I love it. Yeah, Jess and Elizabeth and everyone else, I love it. So if you are watching us, guys, it's your first time. My name is Brady Harris, Stormcat5 on Twitter and Instagram, and I think someone took the original Stormcat5, so I think mine's got like an underscore in it. So it's a picture. It's a picture of this cat basically with the lightning shooting out. It's the same picture that's in my background. So that's how you can find me on Twitter. And then Dan Wallace is also here. Dan is a Stormfront freak like most of you, but he's kind of volunteered to help us, and he's done a tremendous job. So Dan, do you have any social media? Any social media you'd like to share?
So
or you just have Burner?
Yeah, I've got a YouTube.
Okay.
If anyone wants to check it out, it's Dan Wallace WX.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that was where you posted that 360 view of that storm chase that we had, right? Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah, and then I reframed some of that, and I've got some videos from last year.
Okay. Yeah, so check out Dan on YouTube then. For those that are on YouTube, you can go check him out and see his channel and see what's going on there. That chase video that we had, that 360 view, was awesome. So that was a really cool video to go check out. So that's Dan Wallace on YouTube, right?
National Weather Service has issued a tornado warning for.
All right.
Tornado warning for northeastern Greene County in south central Wisconsin, northwestern Rock County in south central Wisconsin, southeastern Dane County in south central Wisconsin.
You're not gonna believe this, but this warning is literally this. It looks like. Let's just see here. Okay, it's a pretty fairly weak, looks like, circulation, but is literally going over top of Vince Waltie's house right now, or where his camera is. So that would just be, hopefully he saw some action today in terms of a tornado. But so it looks like, just looking on radar, there's a little bit of a notch here. We've got some winds kind of rotating in here. So this is another one of those QLCS spin ups, possibly. This is a radar indicated tornado warning. This is for northeastern Greene County, Rock County, and Dane County, southeastern Dane County. So Madison, this does not include you, but this is a radar indicated QLCS possible tornado, and this goes until 9:15 Central Time. So let's see here. Let's put this on the little ticker down here, and then let's save it, and okay. So we have that's our only active tornado warning right now, but it is a radar indicated. Not necessarily seeing anything incredibly strong from my side in terms of rotation. I'm going to be honest. The rotation we saw a little bit ago actually was a lot better, but right in here, maybe a little bit of a couplet. Right in here is probably, if you'd have a tornado, that's probably where it would be. And let me just see if there's anything appearing on. Not really any debris, so that's good. But yeah, if you live, there's probably going to be a lot of these tonight, I would bet. I mean, not a lot, but there's probably going to be several as we go throughout the evening. You're probably going to see, up and down this line, possibly some spin ups that happen. They'll probably be brief, and they may produce a tornado. And so if you do live anywhere kind of east of Madison, Wisconsin, and Milwaukee, Rockford, even into the western side of Chicago, you are going to get a pretty nasty line of thunderstorms that's going to be on your doorstep in the next couple hours. And with that, you're going to see some probably some strong winds, maybe some small hail, and occasionally one of these things will probably spin up and cause a tornado warning. That doesn't necessarily mean a tornado is going to touch down, but this is probably going to be for the next couple hours. It's going to be probably a regular occurrence. So once again, our only tornado warning right now is for Dane, Greene, and Rock counties in Wisconsin. Oh, cool. Nikki says, found it and sub to Dan Wallace. Love that. Thanks, Nikki.
Thank you so much.
And if you are watching us, I think the majority of this group is actually on Twitter. I think for some reason we have 0 YouTube videos, but that's not right because I know people are commenting. But for those that are on YouTube or are on Twitter, okay, that's decent, right? Right in here could be a little bit of a tornado. Definitely kind of an isolated pocket of rotation in here, so maybe could get something there. But for those that are watching us on Twitter, we're the Stormfront Freaks, and we're on YouTube as well, and we've got a bunch of really cool content on YouTube. Dan's got a cool YouTube, so check his out as well. But we've got the Stormfront Freaks have a lot of really cool content on YouTube. We've got our podcast that we do whenever we go live and do Outbreak. That's also there as well. So if you do want to, yikes, something went wrong. Okay, so if you do want to subscribe to us and kind of see more content like this, go ahead and and I'll go ahead and put it in the chat. For those that are on YouTube, you might not be able to see it. Or for those that are on Twitter, you might not be able to see it. But go ahead and go to YouTube and just search for Stormfront Freaks. And you'll see whenever we go live, it'll appear there. You'll see we went live last night, as well as our podcast that we do. So we do podcast every other Thursday. Those will appear there as well. So we've got a bunch of different podcasts that we've done. This is the video version, so it's kind of fun to actually see what we do here. We've got all the Storm Freaks, Greg and Phil and Dina, Serena, all of them are on these podcasts. They'll occasionally join Outbreak from time to time, but I encourage you guys to go check us out on YouTube because that's where a lot of our really cool content is. And if you subscribe to us, you'll get notified whenever we do go live for our podcast or Outbreak. That's the great thing is they're both in one spot. And then if you do like what you see, go ahead and give a thumbs up on the YouTube video. That helps us out tremendously. That helps us. We're trying to figure out how to get the algorithm and get to the top because you guys are getting it on the ground level right now of this stream. We're just getting things started. Our goals are sky high. We want to be the number one coverage for severe weather. There's some pretty big players right now that hold that number one spot. But we want to be the guys, and we want to do it in a way that isn't, we don't necessarily want to be focused on hype and kind of creating buzz. We want to try and bring an educational and like a realist kind of perspective to these things. So I would encourage you guys to check us out. But once again, thank you for joining because this is, like we said, this is the ground floor. We are just going to keep blowing this thing up. So thank you again for joining and supporting the show.
And isn't Brady doing a great job? Let him know what you think in the comments.
Yes. Let me know what you think. Only if you think we're doing a great job. If you don't think I'm doing a great job, let me know anyway. I like constructive criticism. But only if you like the show. No, just kidding. All right. So right now we've got this is back to that tornado warning. This is good, right, Dan? Because it's kind of buying me time until I get my food, right? Because I know everyone wants to see what I got.
Yeah, they're waiting for the unveiling.
Okay, that's interesting. Do you see this little pocket, Dan, here? I wonder if that's just noise. And that looks like it's just noise. So I don't think that's indicative of debris. But it's pretty close to this air rotation. And right now it's in Rutland, Wisconsin. So you guys, I would this is enough for me to say I would take this thing seriously. I would make sure you guys are getting to your safe space. I don't necessarily think this is like saying there's a tornado on the ground, but there could be. Oh, here's my food. Gotta go get my food. All right, be right back.
So Brady's going to go get his food. Nikki, thank you so much for your kind words.
Hello. How are you? Good. How are you?
Hanging in there?
Yeah.
Jess, I know Brady really appreciates your kind words as well.
That's the best thing you can ask for, right?
Some days, yes.
Yeah, I hear you. Just 427.
427, yep.
Thank you,
I was
Elizabeth.
trying like 4 times.
Sam,
Yeah, I know.
Like, especially, I've done that.
I know Brady really appreciates it, and I appreciate your kind words as well.
Cool. Awesome.
All right, there you go, darling.
I'm excited.
Caesar, right?
Yeah.
All right, you enjoy.
Thank you very much. Have a good night. The food is here. And it's just in time for a tornado. What is this?
Okay, they want to know what dressing you got.
What dressing I got? What do they think? What do you guys think?
There's a vote for Italian, maybe balsamic.
Maybe balsamic, maybe Italian. What else do you guys think? Any other guesses? Oh, please tell me there's silverware. Oh, yes.
But is the silverware really silver, or is it plasticware?
It's plastic.
Okay. So there are a few ranches, 1,000 Island.
Balsamic, Thousand Island, Ranch, Italian. Wow.
It's not
Well-
Catalina, is it?
Is it, what'd you say?
But it's not Catalina, is it?
I don't even know what that is. What is Catalina?
Something my mom made me eat when I was
Okay. I love it. All right. You guys ready for the big reveal? Wait, let's see if we don't have a drum roll, do we? It is Caesar. Caesar dressing. I don't think anyone guessed that. I thought I said Caesar salad. Wait, did it? Oh, Elizabeth. Oh, Elizabeth. Nice work. Although I'm gonna be honest, I don't think I'm gonna put it on there because it is like really, really, really warm, and it's kind of gross. Oh man, Nikki's boo. She doesn't like Caesar. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna put it on. I'm gonna be quite honest. It's like it's super warm and it's just gross. Just said microplastics. Yep, that is just not good. My chair is really low too, so it's I'm gonna be like, I can't get my chair to go back up. Interesting. Look at this, Dan. You see this up here? That's probably nothing, but a little bit of a couplet here. I think we're probably gonna get a lot of these all night. We'll probably see these kind of these little spin ups happen here or there. So
Yeah, and if someone is looking at it on their radar on their phone, take it seriously. I mean,
I would agree. Yeah, I think every warning tonight, even though we're we're not these aren't necessarily the long track, violent, strong tornadoes that you sometimes hear people like will hype up with supercells. Tornadoes can and do oftentimes spawn from these lines. There still is plenty of wind shear. There still is enough. The conditions are still ripe enough to be able to get spin ups to happen. And so, and sometimes you can get strong tornadoes out of lines like this. So if you do get a warning tonight, if you are in any of these areas, take it seriously. It's not time to panic, right, or anything, but it's just if you do get a warning, have a place to go and make sure you've got a plan in place if something were to happen. And when you do get that warning, make sure you enact that plan and just get to your basement, get to your an interior room in your house with no windows or doors if you don't have a basement, and just be aware of it tonight.
Yeah, I mean, even a EF0 can rearrange things in your yard, so you want to, take it seriously.
I would agree. It looks like our tornado warning, the rotation is not really looking. It's pretty sloppy right now, so still could be something in there, but doesn't really look too intimidating at this point. So I would, this tornado warning goes for another 20 minutes right now. Things don't increase, it probably will expire. So I know we had a viewer in Rockford earlier, and Rockford, you just got a severe thunderstorm warning. So there's a storm coming right for you, Rockford. It's a pretty nasty storm too. I think the worst of it's probably just going to go a little bit north with the hail, but they do in the language indicate that tornado is possible with this. But just looking at the velocity, I'm not seeing anything too concerning just yet. Elizabeth said dairy should be kept cold, and if it's warm for too long, don't eat it. Yeah, I'm not touching the dressing. I'm telling you right now, I am not touching that dressing because it was hot, and that would just be gross.
So there's the storm moving through in Madison on that video.
Oh yeah. Let's pull that back up. That would be awesome. Oh, that's actually sick. All right, let's pull that up. All right, so here's the storm as it moves through. Oh, and you got your camera too. All right, so I'll pull this one up and then we'll pull your camera up. So this is that storm as it's moving through Madison, Wisconsin right now. Look at the let me just go back. This is actually really cool. So you can see that looks like that's like a little shelf cloud right there as it moves through, and a shelf cloud above us too, I think. Yeah. Last couple of frames. Yep, that's your shelf cloud right there. So then it just kind of moved through Wisconsin or Madison, Wisconsin, and now you got some pretty bright flashes. So that's kind of cool. Logan said, "When am I going to see that orange cross tech again? Last time was Camp Clovis. You'll see it again. Trust me, Logan. We're going to be out chasing. Oh wow, look at that. We're going to be out chasing again at the end of May. So we'll be out there wherever the storms are at the end of May. We'll be there." That looks like a pretty nasty storm, Dan, to be driving on the freeway for.
Yeah, absolutely.
Elizabeth said we would have gotten a cold Caesar dressing from Chick-fil-A at least. Yeah. You're right about that. You're right about that.
So yeah, we're not too far away from May chasing.
No, we are not. Just over a month, I think, right? Dan,
Yeah.
you're coming to that, right?
Yeah, I'll be out chasing with Bryant Patterson, but
Oh,
probably,
cool.
probably not too far away from you guys. And I was telling Phil we'll be in contact.
Absolutely. We need Dan to the radios and the holding up the caboose. I just feel safer when you're there.
You're too kind.
It's true, man. It's true. All right, Nikki, thanks for joining us. Got to wake up hubby for work. Oh, wait. I guess she said she's not leaving. She just said BRB. Wow, look at that lightning, man. That's sweet. Look at the wind crossing the freeway there, too. They're getting crushed. They're getting absolutely crushed.
So
All
yeah,
right.
I'm watching.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was watching the edge here, and kind of along the front of this, looks like there might be some more spin ups.
Yeah. Are you in? Let's see. We're at Rockford, or is it north in Madison?
I'm looking north of Sun Prairie. It looks like.
Okay. Oh yeah, I see it. Yeah, there's a little bit of a hook there, I think, and that's that same storm. So that tornado warning is now been dropped. So wow, big strike of lightning. So we don't have any active tornado warnings right now, and that storm is moving through Madison right now. It's kind of Madison's on the very back edge of it, but this storm, which was, I think the tornado warning was just to the south. But there's a couple of notches here, kind of one little bit right there, and then one a little bit more pronounced right there. So anytime you see those notches, you gotta be careful, because that's, if this wind can just work its way back in here, which it's already starting to do. That's when you'll get the tornado warning, and that's when you can get a quick spin up.
So yeah, anywhere along that edge. I mean, as it moves in, you could have that. So just be ready to take shelter if necessary.
Yep. Hey, I got some. I would bet that. I think this is Brad Arnold. I would bet that. Whoops! No, I don't want to put that on. I would bet that Brad Arnold is. And by the way, I do that when I actually pull up chaser feeds, not because I don't like Brad, or I don't want to pull up his feed. It's just because I want to respect his feed, because a lot of storm chasers do put a lot of hard work into their videos and producing kind of their own live streams. And so, the reason why I won't like click on Brad and be like, oh, let's watch his live stream on air, because I don't want to steal his hard work, right? And just try to pass it off as my own, right? Because I'm not chasing right now. I'm not doing anything with Brad. So that's why we our plan is to try and incorporate storm chasers over time, but we want to do it the right way. We don't want to just start streaming someone's feed without asking them. So
Yeah, it costs a lot of money to chase and to transmit video via data. So
yeah, it does. So the last thing we want to do is just like, oh, we're just going to steal his video. These storms, that's going to be a nice little outflow right there. Yeah, so it's gonna be a noisy night. And honestly, Chicago, you might luck out. I think the northern suburbs might get hit, but south of Chicago, you guys might get missed here from this, which is good news. Rockford, I know we had a viewer in Rockford earlier. You guys right now have a severe thunderstorm warning. That storm is moving into your area right now as we speak, and expect winds 60 miles an hour, possibly some lightning, some hail, other things like that. But I don't think there's an immediate tornado threat at this point, which is good news. And we'll just double check here. And I also think we're gonna probably start to wind down here. We'll stay on for just a little bit longer, but I'm gonna go eat my dinner in a little bit and say goodnight here in just a second. It's a fun stream, Dan. Thanks for hopping on. I'm glad we did it.
Yeah, I appreciate it. You've done an amazing job as always.
Yeah, you as well, my friend. You as well. Dan is a great loyal friend because he always sticks. He sticks to the end, you know. I appreciate that so much, to have someone else to kind of talk to, as well as people in the chat. I love that you guys are sticking around too.
Absolutely. So. And there are some loyal, viewers.
Yes.
Every time they're here.
Every time. I would agree, and you guys are the best. So,
yeah.
Thank you for watching and doing what you guys do, and interacting with me too. I love it. Absolutely love it. So, well, I'll do one last summary of what we're expecting tonight, and then what we're expecting tomorrow. And then from there, I'll probably end the night with maybe the one of these cams and see if that could be fun to look at. But and then we'll sign off. Sounds like a plan. All right. Well, so basically for the rest of the night, we are going to be expecting this line of storms right now, which stretches all the way up into central Wisconsin. It's already moved through Madison, Wisconsin. This is going to keep pushing east. As it does, it's the environment for tornadoes is gonna, the conditions for tornadoes are gonna remain steady, if not decrease a little bit. So I think from now on into the end of the night, our tornado potential will be fairly limited, but still possible. And this line is just going to keep pushing to the northeast. And so areas like Milwaukee, even the north suburbs of Chicago, Sheboygan, maybe even Green Bay getting in on the very north side of this. It's gonna be a pretty noisy night, and a lot of these storms could pack some strong winds, some small hail, and the occasional spin up. So I would not be surprised if we had another tornado warning or two before this night is over. But once again, it's probably going to be these little kinks in the line that we keep looking for to see if there's any sort of like we're going to have any isolated supercells. Those have already kind of come and gone. We had some tornadoes earlier in the day, and now we're more into like a line phase. So that's what to kind of expect for tonight. And so, if you live in any of those areas, just make sure you have a way to get warnings. If you do get a tornado warning, make sure you take it seriously and take shelter. But not necessarily expecting a widespread tornado outbreak tonight. Further south in central Illinois and even into southeastern Missouri, you could have some kind of scattered storms. Maybe there's one here, one there. Most people are going to probably stay dry, but you could, if you do get a storm, could be a nice lightning show. Maybe some small hail and some strong wind with that. Further off to the east, Indiana, probably going to be a pretty noisy night. Not expecting any severe weather really. but could get some storms with some lightning, probably some rain, and North Indiana, South Bend, and then Michigan, maybe the leftovers of this storm in the early morning hours. And then tomorrow, tomorrow we do have a slight risk for storms centered over Ohio, southern Michigan, and northeastern Indiana, with possibly some scattered storms all the way down to Alabama and Georgia. So you could, even into Pittsburgh and Indianapolis could get on the action. Where the greatest threat we're expecting in Columbus, Fort Wayne, Detroit, Cleveland are all in. Definitely not as big of a risk as today. So just looking at the tornado, about a 5% chance, mainly in with the best chances for tornadoes in northern Ohio, southern Michigan, and then wind, hail, not really a big threat. So a day that you want to stay weather aware, but this isn't looking like a big outbreak tomorrow, so we probably won't be live for that. But that's good to know for tomorrow. If you live in any of those areas, you could get some nice storms in the afternoon that could pack a little bit of a punch. So that's the outlook for tomorrow. On the horizon, we could get some more. Eventually, we could get some more severe storms coming into play. It looks like this upcoming weekend or the next couple of days probably gonna be pretty quiet. Beyond that, we've kind of been going a week-long rotation where it's like, of course, it's been popping off Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday when I'm not in town, and then to the weekend it's like nothing. So I can't use my normal stream setup. So there's things that I can't do that I normally would do at home. But anyway, that's it for tonight. Right now, we're about to sign off. We only have 2 severe thunderstorm warnings. And one special weather statement. Those are the storms in Madison and Rockford, about to move into Rockford. So those will be some pretty nasty storms. But in the meantime, just want to thank you guys for joining tonight. We got myself, and then we got Dan Wallace. Dan, before we sign off, do you want to say any words for the people? Words of wisdom.
Oh, I have no words of wisdom, but I want to thank everyone for tuning in and for being so kind to us. It's just takes my words away.
Yeah, I would echo that from Dan, and just cannot really thank you guys for joining the stream, and look for us in the future. I would encourage you guys to let us know feedback, right? Good and bad. Tweet at me on Twitter, Stormcat5. That's with an underscore, and there's a cat in the picture, so it'd be probably pretty obvious. But tell me what you think of the show. If there's things you think we could do better, if you like the show, definitely let us know. And as always, if you're on YouTube, go and like and subscribe to the channel. Stormfront Freaks is our channel. So we'll keep going live every time we have any outbreaks. But thanks again for joining. Love you guys, and cannot wait to keep this rolling in the future. Peace out. Dan, any final goodbyes?
Thanks for watching. Bye.
Thanks for watching, and have a wonderful, wonderful week. This is Stormcat5 saying meow.